Danful offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshe traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danful, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit danful.africa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure you hit that like button. And please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe on this. What's it, today? Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. On this Wednesday afternoon, y'all. Appreciate everyone who is here in the house, who's joining us from worldwide, wherever you're at. Thank you for joining. Couple of announcements. Announcement number one, I need everyone who is watching this. Again, everyone who is watching this, I need you to go to Amazon.com. Okay, everyone. All right, I want to be, and let me say that I am offering something of value. All right, this is equal exchange. Okay, but I have a goal. I want my children's books to be number one. Okay. Again, I want my children's books to be number one. So I need you to go to Amazon.com, type in Dynasty Mirror, and I need you to buy a book. Please buy a book, y'all. Go buy a book for your aunties, your cousins, your nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters. You gift them. Go and support and buy a book. So again, go to Amazon, type in Dynasty Mirror, and cop a book. And then go to donfo.africa. Oops. All right, donfo.africa. We are rolling to Nigeria in August 2nd to the 11th. We are going to Zanzibar and Kenya in September. We're going to Ghana and Ivory Coast in November, as well as Sierra Leone in November. And then we're going to Benin in January. So please visit donfo.africa to learn more. And while you're there, please click the documentary link and stream the documentary. All right, everyone who is watching this, when you watch this, all right, go to donfo.africa and please stream the documentary. All right, I will greatly appreciate it. There's 22 of y'all. If all 22 of y'all have bought a book and a documentary, I greatly appreciate it. If you have not, please go and support and buy a book or a documentary. Without further ado, let's jump into today's topic. What does Africa owe Black Americans because of the slave trade? Yes, this is an open panel. I'll put the link in the chat room. But what is owed? That's the question. I've heard land. I've heard citizenship. What is owed? And then the question becomes, what do we owe Africa? What do we contribute to Africa? Say they give us land and citizenship. Okay. Nothing is free. Even though you might say, well, we paid the cost through slavery. Okay, I get it. But nothing is free. All right. What can we do? What do we bring of value to the continent? If they were to give citizenship and land as part of the reparations package, what do we bring to the continent of value where it would make sense and it's a win-win for both parties? Because we have to, I understand, how we were taken away against our own free will and brought over here. We were slaves and sharecroppers and experienced Jim Crow. I get that. I get it. But should this how would this be a win-win? That's the question. That's the question that's being asked. How would this be a win-win for both parties? So, for example, now Benin, they have a process right now. Sierra Leone, I've helped over 100 people get their citizenship in Sierra Leone, but the process is right now is on hold. It's postponed, and the question that's being asked is how is this us giving the diaspora? Larry, that's a good question. Larry, you should call in and because Larry, when it comes to the whole slave trade, we many of us group Africa as one. We know there's 54 countries, but many of us will just group Africa as one. They'd be like, we don't like them Africans. Them Africans sold us into slavery. Them Africans, we ain't no Africans anyway. They sold us. Excuse me. Africa doesn't owe us nothing, and we don't owe Africa anything. Shout out to Elvis for the $20, $20 holler for his fine. Yeah, Elvis. You've been a little unhinged lately, Elvis. You gotta reel it in, Elvis. You gotta calm down. Um, you've been a little unhinged lately, Elvis. But thank you for the $20 holler. But that's been the argument. Oh, I'm sorry. With Sierra Leone, I'm looking at my Sierra Leone passport right now. The question is how, if we continue this program, how is it beneficial or a win-win for us as well? Because no matter how bad we claim we have it in America, again, no matter how bad we claim we have it in America, no matter what, like I said, we got 24-hour electricity as long as we pay for it. We got running water as long as we pay for it. We have infrastructure. We have systems in place that are functioning here for the most part. A lot of the countries in West Africa, a lot of the countries we go to, a lot of the systems aren't running like they are here in America. A lot of the people a lot of the countries we visit, no matter how we complain, how bad we allegedly got it, they don't have access to the resources and the infrastructure the same way we do. But then we're demanding, that we get a passports and land. When they're like, look, y'all got it good over there. Y'all high in the hog over there in America. Then we have the Marcus Garvey quote. Some of y'all is no good in America, you won't be no good in Africa. So there has to be a way that this has to be really, really. Now people have to be evaluated before everyone just gets passports and land, and that's what's going on in Sierra Leone. Now I know some people in Benin. In fact, I don't know if you guys know. In fact, let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I can pull this up. Oh, where's this? Where's this? Where's this? Where's this? If you guys are familiar with Cujo Lewis and the Clotilda in Little Africa in Mobile, Alabama, a descendant of the Clotilda, just of Cujo Lewis, just received her citizenship of Benin. Let me see. Let me see if they have. I know I read an article on it. Let me see if I can find an actual news story on it. But we've actually played this before. How a number of
newly
received their
naturalized
citizenship.
citizens of Benin smile next to the flag, the final stage of a far from typical journey to citizenship. They are among those to have enrolled in a new program offering Beninese citizenship to people of African descent. Among them is Elie Nathalie from the French Caribbean island of Martinique, who discovered family connections to Benin after living there for around a year.
For me, it's a matter of pride. For me, the circle is complete. I recently discovered my connection to this nation through my great-grandmother, who was from Benin.
The My Afro Origins program forms part of President Patrice Talon's plan to raise his country's profile by highlighting its role in the transatlantic trafficking of enslaved people. The naturalization ceremonies have coincided with the unveiling of projects intended to bring that history to life. They include a replica of an 18th century ship that transported enslaved people, which has sculptures inside, representing nearly 300 captives. The government also plans to open a new International Museum of Memory and Slavery this year at the former residence of a prominent trafficker of enslaved people. American R&B star Ciara is one of around 50 people to have received Beninese citizenship since the program launched last year, according to the Justice Ministry. It says it is sorting through thousands of applications and receives about 100 more each day. To qualify, applicants need to be at least 18 years old and produce documents or a DNA test proving their ties to the continent. Nor can they be citizens of another African country, Foreign Minister Olusegun Ajadi Bakari told Reuters.
We believe that Africa cannot develop without a strong involvement of his diaspora. So for us, there is no target, no hidden ambition. Our only one objective is definitely to do this reconciliation, reparation, giving the right to our brothers and sisters to come back.
Benin's program is similar to an initiative in Ghana, which, since 2016, has granted citizenship to almost 700 members of the African diaspora, according to officials.
I am Winnie Gabriel, a professional basketball.
Go ahead, Ngolo.
Good afternoon.
Peace.
To all the brothers on here. But yeah, me personally, I can only speak on my perspective. I just, from like a large scale reparations thing, is to me is nonsensical, because I mean the only way it would work is if you go to traditional rulers. You can't hold the present day Berlin Conference colonial cages accountable for what happened during that time. And even like from an individual standpoint, none of us really can say that our hands are clean anyways that's over here in the diaspora, because No, who's to say that our families weren't directly involved in raids too, and we just got caught up in the whirlwind too and got sold over? For the most, I mean, probably from a probability standpoint, that's likely for a large portion of our people. They was involved with it too. So I just think the course that most of the governments now are taking, I think that that's the right way to go as far as expediting citizenship and making direct pathways. And I do think that they it should be over at least a 5 year period to where you're showing that you're serious, because majority of people aren't that get citizenship from what I've heard from the
Yeah,
statements.
and Ngolo, that's been, sorry to interrupt. That's been the issue with Sierra Leone, per Sierra Leone. So, and they didn't say that directly, but that's what they said for the most part. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
because I've heard some administrators talk about it that off the record, and there's not really a lot of follow up. A lot of people just utilize it just to have a because it's expedient or it's convenient for the moment. But I think like you brought up the Marcus Garvey quote, that to me is right and exact. I'm not gonna say majority. A lot of black people over here are no good in the United States as far as constructive building collectively, and they're not going to be any good on the continent. And they're just going to be complaining about the lack of quote unquote infrastructure. They're going to be complaining and trying to create silos of quote unquote African American culture or Jamaican, like even all of the silos of culture that we have, instead of ingratiating ourselves with the stuff that we had before. And it should be intrinsic, in my opinion. Like you should be intrinsically expressing the culture. That's really what you come from. But yeah, like I said, it's all encompassing. But yeah, I think people that are really looking towards going back need to be serious. If you're not serious, then just go back and visit. But if you're not trying to go with the well, how can I help mindset, you're not going to be effective. So I'll let somebody else talk though.
All right, go ahead, Fode.
Yeah, what's going on, brother Dennis?
Yeah, it was good, Fode.
Man, nothing much, bro. I kind of, I agree with the good brother just said. Those modern day countries that you see today, they didn't exist during the slave trade. And many of these African countries, especially like in Sierra Leone, the little chiefdoms used to be kingdoms. They still hold their customary practices and things like that in Sierra Leone. I think that what Sierra Leone has done, what took place in Sierra Leone, I think that they pretty much have done their job on what they had to offer us. Because many of these countries in West Africa are developing countries, right? So there's a high cases of poverty, and it's like, what do we expect to get from countries that are developing countries when we come from one of the most developed country, if not the most developed country in the world that everybody's trying to get to? You understand? So giving us citizenship, giving us land. When we first went to Sierra Leone and went to the chiefs and things like that, they welcomed us back. They gave us full tribal rights. The country gave us citizenship. They involve us in inside the local chiefdom government, things like that. I think that's perfect. For what we need.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kadoe, go ahead, Kadoe.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Um, I hope I'm clear. Am I clear enough?
Yeah, you're clear.
Okay, so this is a very good topic, because there are a lot of videos I've watched. You see a black American and an African. The black American will sometimes attack an African. Like there was this video I saw, a black American guy. He's actually a young man. He brought about an argument. He was just insulting the African. Then the African said, "But why are you just attacking me? What have I done to you?" Then he told the African that he never wanted to say it first. At first, he was saying that he's not from Africa. I'm not from Africa. I'm this that. Then the African said, "But then why are you attacking me if you say you're not from Africa?" Anyway, went ahead. Then he came up to say that you sold my people. You sold my ancestors. That is I think that is a problem, right? you know, like what the brother who was just talking earlier said today, there have to be a proper historical background check on some of these things. Because suppose you do a proper historical background check and get to know that some of your ancestors were also slave traders, and they were just unfortunate that ca- they got kidnapped, or and they got kidnapped and sold. In fact, there are some cases I heard that Sometimes, because slavery in Africa, sometimes there are some parts of Africa that it was brutal, some parts of Africa it was not brutal. Some parts of Africa it was just like credit. For example, if you owe somebody something, say, like, just go and do this for some time, and I'll see that as a payback. So some people accepted to be slaves in certain conditions because accepted to be slaves because of conditions like that. So different things happen during those times. And so the next thing to that is slavery occur everywhere around the world. Every group of people enslave everybody, Africans. So if those people that are blaming Africans and saying that we owe them, so Africans on the continent need to start attacking other Africans and say that they owe them too, because Africans, because Africans enslave Africans on the African continent. Majority of Africans you see on the African continent today. That's why you see when an African call you in America, this could be a defensive talk for the black diaspora, for those that wondering what to say to Africans, to some arrogant Africans. Whenever you see an arrogant Africans that call you a slave, just because you have an ancestor, just because because some of your ancestor was slave, tell that African that is insulting you and calling you a slave that, yes, if I do a research and a background check, it's possible that one of your ancestors was enslaved to another African on the African continent. So that when that
Kadori, you got 30 seconds. Got to pass the mic.
yes, yeah, okay. So yeah, so that can neutralize it, right? So in short, Africans don't owe Black Americans anything. Africans don't owe Black Americans because that was an unfortunate situation that occurred. It was a culture at that time, and those people were doing those things, and those people that was even so, some of them too were involved into slavery as well. Some of them were also slave traders as well. So there have to be a better background check to know about what to understand what happened before you blame others. Before you blame Africans, you have to do
All
proper
right, all right. Let me
background check.
let me pass the mic. Go ahead, Great African.
Hey guys, check it out, gentlemen. Good evening. Um, I just wanted to check in quickly and put some things in perspective. First, um, I did my 23andMe, and that showed that I have more than 1,200 African American DNA relatives. So, as a continental African, it means that, and this is specific to my mother's side. So some of them are like fifth cousins, which means we share a third great grandmother. So basically, um, my great grandmother's grandmother had children or a child that was abducted and sold into slavery. And from that DNA, I have 1,200 African American DNA relatives. So when you start looking at um, who sold who, so I can say that some of my people were also sold into slavery, and it would be a factual thing, and it would be the same generation of people that were enslaved here in America. The other thing is, when I was young, I read a book, and you can read this book. It's called Venture for Freedom, and it chronicled a young African that was enslaved, his journey from his village to the sea, and what some of the brothers were saying about Africans being enslaved and the enslavers also being enslaved. This child's journey through, when they interviewed him about his whole experience from his village and how his village was raided, and then they were marching towards the sea, and then they were capturing more people. But in the end, the main slave trader was also captured and enslaved, and they were all sold by a bigger, more powerful slave trader. Okay, so if being a like somebody that's just straight up sellout, if that's a DNA, we have that DNA here in the United States. Some of these people that were captured, that were naturally slave traders that betrayed their people, they're right here selling drugs to our children in this country. They're selling out all the way through. They're the ones who sold out, like Marcus Garvey. They're the ones who sold out, like the slave rebellion. So that DNA of the sellout is in the blood of people that were captured selling their own people. So to answer the question regarding whether uh, Africans owe Black Americans, I think that each African country that's a present day African country should definitely offer citizenship to any Black person on the planet if they want to. Okay. With that said, then you got to hustle on your own. You can't expect poor countries to now give you land and then look at people who don't have, who are landless, and give you land. You got to go hustle the same way. So if you're coming from the richest country on the planet and your dollar is 300 times more effective and worth more, buy your own land. Don't expect anybody to give you nothing, because if they have to give you something, it means that somebody else who doesn't have land isn't going to get it. So you can't be my neighbor and like, oh yeah, this dude came from America and they gave him land and I ain't got nothing. Okay, so you're going to have that natural animosity. So the people who, they got Social Security and they feel like they can go to Africa and live cheap. Well, you can do that, but you don't have the infrastructure that you're used to. Then you're going to complain that, oh man, there's no constant electricity. Yeah, my rent is $125, but my food always wastes because I don't have consistent electricity. You got to understand the issues that we have. You got to understand that Africa, okay, was also decimated. We were not allowed to progress, okay, like we normally would have. So you're dealing with a continent that was destroyed, okay, its people captured and sold. So you got to adjust your expectation of what you expect from these African countries. Liberia, for example, the budget of the entire Republic of Liberia is less than a University of Wisconsin. So that's the reality of what you're dealing with. So if you want to do tourism and get your citizenship to feel good and it's therapeutic for you, that's perfectly okay. And I don't see anything wrong with it. You give them the tourism visas and their citizenship, and that's fine. And then you have the ones that actually see opportunity, that are real business people, not just people that are living off of Social Security, think they can get cheap rent in Africa. Okay, so let's just put these things in perspective. There's a lot of different topics that you can get into, but I'm just going to leave it very short. And that's what I have to say regarding this issue.
All right, go ahead, M.
Thank you, sir. I want to respond to a couple of guys that made comments about Marcus Garvey and the last guy who made a comment about that book, the alleged former slave. It was already proven that was a fiction, fake novel, just like Alex Haley made a fake novel. You should plagiarize to make roots. You see what I'm saying? Just like with Phyllis Wheatley, when she made her speech when she went to Europe, she distinguished herself from the Africans. She said she was a slave in America, but she also said the Africans were going through things in Africa too. So now they want to say Phyllis Wheatley came from Africa. But in her own words, she didn't come from Africa. So the whole idea of using a fake novel to say that there's slave masters in our blood, or there's sellouts in our blood and our DNA, like that type of rhetoric, like show me the evidence, scientific evidence that there's a gene, a slave trading gene in our DNA, and we're sellouts. And then Marcus Garvey, his opinion about we're useless in America. We was useless enough to finance his Black Star Line to get him 5 steamships, and we was useless enough to build Liberia that allocated him $1 million.
He said some.
Okay, some. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? Liberia offered him 1 million square acres of rubber tree land in Liberia. So Garvey, to say that about the lineage that actually financed his whole reign of power.
You can't be this low. He said
what you mean?
He said some.
I mean, you could say some, 1, 2, whatever. What is some? But any, but he did raise how many $1 million selling us stock to the Black Star Land in America alone? And how was we useless in if we're going to be useless in Africa when the country that we set up offered him land in Africa? Did he realize that Liberia was set up by Black Americans? But as far as the topic and listening to the videos, the guy
Again, he said some of y'all. He said
of
some.
you two, you one of us too. But I will say this as far as comment on the video and the topic, the guy from Benin said you got to prove that you have DNA, and he said that the diaspora is essential for the growth of Africa. So they really need us more than we need them. So this rhetoric that our somehow disposition as being former enslaved people is our own fault because we were somehow slaves is just deflection. You see what I'm saying? I think they shouldn't focus on slavery as much, because when they just focus on just this small interval of time in which we were suffering and we went through what they call it Ma'afa, John Henry Clark called it the Ma'afa. We did a lot more throughout history than that. Like, I wouldn't want to go to a place with a stigma, with a scarlet letter. Oh, that's the former slave. Like, look what happened with the Barbary slave trade. Like the guy Angola mentioned slightly a couple of days ago. The Europeans were sold by the Mali Empire. Like, white people were sold by the Arabs all over Europe, the Black slave trade. But what they got out of it was they got their revenge through colonialism. They got their revenge through the transatlantic slave trade. And they ended up with all of the land in America, Europe, and Africa. So at the end of the day, even though the Europeans don't talk about their dark ages or the time they were sold by the Arabs and the Africans, they got the land. So regardless of the rhetoric they mention and all this, just give us the land. We don't need to be in a country with them. Give us Liberia back for one. Like, why did they allow Liberia to be taken from us? The last guy mentioned Liberia as if that's not a country we started.
Hey, can I interject on this?
We're going to be on welfare. We're going to be on welfare, on Social Security in a country that we built from scratch. The only people on welfare and Social Security are the people fleeing to South Africa and getting thrown out. But I'll leave it at that.
I like to just say a few things. I'm a Liberian, and
the country that we built, not you.
You didn't build nothing.
Black Americans built that. You didn't build anything.
We had.
You stole it from us in 1980.
Hey, hold on, one mic. Don't interrupt him. Go ahead.
Okay, listen. Let's look at the reality of situation. Okay, the only place when you talk about Black Americans built Liberia, okay, yes, Liberia was founded by Black Americans. Okay, yes, Liberia was not just Black Americans. It was not just Black Americans. Half of the descendants of free slaves were also from the Caribbean. Okay.
Oh, now they want to miss the Caribbeans.
The Caribbean. If you listen to a Liberian accent, it's not a Black American accent. It's an Eastern Caribbean accent.
That's a Louisiana accent.
No, it's not. It's
they
Eastern Caribbean. I'm a Liberian. Okay.
You wasn't there in 1840.
Hey, stop interrupting.
All right, sorry.
Listen, if anybody here wants to know, listen to a typical Liberian accent and then listen to an Eastern Caribbean accent, and then you will know that there's a huge, look at the Barbados accent and look at the Liberian accent. So the narrative that when they say the love of liberty brought us here, I was counted that as a Liberian. The love of liberty met us here because the first set of African Americans that went to Africa first went to Sierra Leone and they were rejected. Okay. And then they went further down the coast on what was at the time they called Perseverance Island. Okay. So I'm a Liberian, I'm a patriotic Liberian, but I'm also about facts about my country. I'm proud of my country, just like every other person is proud of their country. And I'm not a Liberian that rejects American Liberians. But let's look at the facts. It's not, oh, yeah, some Black Americans came and set up a country. It was a collective effort. And for Black Americans that were initially there, they got money from the U.S. government. Okay, so it's not like a bunch of people raised money, black people raised money to go set up a country. That's false. Factually, historically false.
Dinus, correct this guy. You call me slow. Call this guy
That
slow.
great
No,
that's
no,
very gray. Great African is gray.
it's gray, but I'm just show me the
The
fact is
ACS
this,
is
okay?
not the American government.
The ACS is not American government. The ACS was made up of it's the American Colonization Society. Yes, it was made up of Quakers. It was made up of slave owners, and the Haitian Revolution is really what sparked
They were
the like.
abolitionists, not slave owners.
They were abolitionists and slave
You're
owners.
spewing
Henry
nonsense,
Clay.
man.
Hey, okay, you don't know nothing because let me tell you the facts. Who was Henry Clay?
You have no country. You a vagabond.
Okay,
I'm gonna stop.
Who was
I'm gonna stop
Henry
interrupting
Clay?
your show. Sorry about that, man.
Who was Henry Clay? Who was Henry Clay? That's a question for you, Mr. Smartass. Henry Clay was a slave owner. Okay, so educate yourself about my country and stop the negative. I'm calling you out on it because you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, and you're making up stuff. You're one of these people who promote division. Henry Clay was a slave owner. Liberia today, there's a place called Clay Ashland, which was a slave plantation in Kentucky. It exists today.
Wasn't Liberians selling slaves when we got there?
Hey, there were Liberians. Okay, you know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that too.
You have no credibility. You was a slave trader. You was a slave.
I'm a slave trader too. Okay. So listen. You are not educated to talk about this topic.
But I don't want to hog the show on this, though. I mean, you got other guests.
No, you got other guests, but I'm calling you out.
I mean, it's not our show. You know what I'm saying? I ain't finna hog all.
No, it's not about our show. You're here. You brought up a topic. You insulted my country.
It's not your country.
I'm calling you out.
You're a thief. It's not your country. You was a vagabond.
I'm a thief. Okay. Yeah, you can insult me. You can insult me all you want to.
Build your own country, but I ain't gonna hog the show though.
You know what?
I'm pretty sure other people want to talk.
No, you don't know shit. That's why.
You're a thief, man. You ain't got no country. You're a bum.
I got a country. I got land. What the fuck do you have?
Stolen land.
I have America.
Brother, don't get in the weeds.
You know what? Let me tell you something. This dude that's talking right now.
But I don't want to hold this show. You know what I'm saying? This is really.
I'm gonna tell you something, okay?
What you call it?
Hey, you taking it on, brother. Don't go down that road.
Where's the decorum?
You're doing this on purpose.
Based on your.
We all know you stole Liberia, man. Y'all ate our hearts too. But go on somewhere, man. Nobody will talk about it.
You know what? Oh yeah, you can talk. You can insult. But I'll tell you this:
y'all ran the country to the ground, man.
I own more property in the United States than you do, and you're an American.
You don't know what I own in America.
Yeah, I'll put $1,000 on the land and I own more than you.
The central bank, y'all robbed all of the money.
Okay, but I own more.
Y'all stole all the money out of Liberia too, doing a coup. Y'all stole all the money.
Okay, you probably ranting right now.
All right, guys. Let me pass the mic. Go to Africa.
Pass the mic. But that dude doesn't. He's a renter. He doesn't own shit in America. I own shit in America, and I own shit in Africa.
Go to Africa.
Greetings. Greetings for everyone. Dinus, panel and chat. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay. First of all, this is quite sad, really. Looking at what's going on. Both of us need to calm down. Both Africans and African Americans in diaspora. We need to calm down. We can't live life like this, man. I mean. When is this gonna stop? We actually radicalizing one group after another. We are both bad at each other, really. When you listen to what's going on, this tit for tat, I actually have lost my tool. It's so sad. This is so sad. Dinus, I'll just pass the mic for now. I'll come back after. Sorry, man.
All right, go ahead, Kidola.
Thank you, Dinus. Africa owe no Black America nothing. Nothing. You can't owe people who are not Africans. Black Americans are not Africans. They're not emotionally Africans. They're not anything connected to Africa. They should remain where they are. That dude said, Elo said Black America built Liberia. Before those Negroes came over there, there were other black people that were staying there. They owns that land. No Black America owns that land. The warship, the big ship came and took over that land for those Negroes there. So don't come with that bloody shit. You put build that. You put build Liberia. Liberia was already existed there. The land was already existed there before they named it Liberia. It didn't move. There were already people running around those territories. Don't create a so kind of a fake history that never really exists. You know, you were never in Liberia. You didn't fight no damn war there. Now you want to talk tough? Why did you go and fight a war there that you see what it is? You know, you be crying for bread and peanut butter that you don't even see to eat. Don't create something that never, don't stop stirring no trouble. You live in America, you want to start trouble in, you know, in Liberia. You know, so we don't own nothing to you people. You know, be your own place. You people don't really like us anyway. You people pretend to today I love you, tomorrow I hate you, tomorrow I'm no Africa, tomorrow you call us monkeys. You know, I'm not just putting you people, I put also the Jamaicans also on notice. You know, I'm not just not thinking about Black America, also the Jamaicans also, 100%. Put them on notice also. Remember where you are. Those fake love that everybody you people try to show to Africans, or love that you people don't want the Africans, are you people are not special. The way they pick you people are not special places that they pick you people. You people will not live in. You people already, you people with children and grandchildren and sisters and brothers of the indigenous Africa they took, who are already crying looking for their children, look for their sisters and everything. You people will never say, oh, you people were speciality. You see that what that guy said? His great-grandmother's daughter was stolen. Was that woman special? No, it was another Liberian woman, you know, who lost his own daughter. Don't come and say, oh, we were also traumatized, what also happened to us also. We take the pain, we bear it, we sit on top of it. Then we drink Gary on top. Don't come and start stirring trouble that trouble never exists. Don't talk tough. Africa is not United States. Whereby you can create fantasy. You create fantasy in Africa, you pay the price for it. Don't create no damn fantasy with your tough mind and everything, where you can't even fight a battle for 2 months. That's all they say, Dennis.
All right, go ahead, Seattle Sankofa, go ahead.
All right. From what I'm hearing, we just need some balance. There was a lot of things that the Continental Brothers were saying that I actually agree with them about. But then there's some things that I would give some pushback on. I believe that there definitely were already people there in Liberia before we got there. There were already people existing there. But as far as the question that you posed, what do African countries owe us? I think that's kind of what I wanted to kind of touch on first, to just answer the question. I think
Well,
that
yeah, well, let's get back on topic. Just
not,
touch on that. Let's get back on topic.
Yes, brother. That's what I was trying to do. I do believe I've been to Africa 3 times. I've been to Tanzania 3 times. My wife is there still now. We're going through the visa process. I did take a DNA kit out there with her too. So I liked what the brother Great Africa was saying about the fact he took a DNA test. I love that. I think if we did more of that, we could start to bridge some of these confusions and connections that are lost. And we can start to bridge some of that. I love that he was able to find 1,200 of his cousins were foundational Black Americans. I think that's awesome. But to answer the question, I think that we should not have to pay a bunch of visa fees when we enter these countries. That's one thing I believe. There should be some type of land set aside for when we do return back. Should they give us money? No, I don't believe that, because they don't have money to give us. I think that Africa really messed up big time when they gave away its people, because we came to America and look what we did. We turned this country into the greatest country in the world. And there's so many Africans that are dying to come here. When I went to Tanzania, every person I met wanted to come to the USA or Canada. And I know a lot of brothers that have been able to come here from Tanzania, and they have no desire to go back. You know what I mean? So I think it just needs to be a lot of balance here. It's a lot of bullshit hate that I'm hearing on both sides. I hear this last African brother that was talking. There was a lot of things I agree with him about. You're right. I don't desire to go back to Africa. I want to stay right here in Seattle where I'm at. I got great running water. I got access to all different type of ethnic foods I like to eat. I don't got to eat the same stuff every day. So I have no desire to leave everything that we have here in America, how businesses are run. When I go in to get some documents printed or do this or do that, I don't have to worry about somebody asking me for money or all these other sorts of things. So I have no desire to just drop my U.S. passport or citizenship and go live on that African continent. Would I like to go there, vacate, maybe pursue some business opportunities if they present themselves? That's great. But no, I don't. Y'all got to twist it when you guys think that we just want to come back to Africa and drop everything that we have going on here in America. No, you guys are fleeing to get over here. You guys really are going through all sorts of things to get here. So that's what I'll have to say. I just believe, yes, there should be land that should be given to foundational Black Americans. I've done DNA tests, 23andMe, Ancestry.com, African Ancestry. My DNA exists within probably just about the 16 West African countries from what I saw. Pretty much that whole thing lit up. Okay, so yeah, that's where my thoughts lie. I'll pass the mic.
All right, guys, hit the like button and please hit that like button. Shout out to Babaliko 9354. Thank you for $5 holla. Amara, go ahead, Amara.
How are y'all doing? One of the things I wanted to touch on is the fact that when my people come from Sierra Leone, we went all out to give out citizenship for anybody that can trace their DNA to Sierra Leone. And I listened to the last brother talking about there should be some dedicated land put aside for Black Americans that come back. And I'm a landowner in Sierra Leone. I come from a ruling family. I'm royal, and we have thousands and thousands of acres. And I'll tell you that my family title to the land far exceed the country of Sierra Leone. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years before the British ever came to Sierra Leone, or before they formed that area and named it Sierra Leone. So when these land laws are there for thousands of years, and people, my family roots go thousands and thousands of years, we rule that land. So it's not so easy for the government. The government doesn't own land. All they could do is talk to us, the landowners, to come up with like a discount program or help out people that got DNA attached to our family, because when you have DNA attached to my family, you're part of the ruling family. We can absorb you. You benefit off the land. You don't own land individually. It's communal. So that's that. Secondly, true, people don't desire, Americans do not desire to go live in Africa per se, but there's a lot of things in Africa that you can't get them in America. For example, police harassment. The police does not harass you. Living in America, I go to a fancy boutique, which I got money for. They following me. I go to a high-end restaurant. I don't got different girlfriends from Africa and Black girls, Black American girls. Anytime I take any one of them to a fancy restaurant, the hostess make me wait extra. I'm on eggshells. They don't sit me down. Some of the things like that. When you work hard, you bust your butt, and you deserve to be treated with respect. You get in Africa, you don't get it in America. You're driving fancy, nice car in a nice neighborhood. Police harass you for no reason. So those little things right there, yes, the material things like 24-hour electricity, running water, you have multiple choices of food. You don't have to eat the same foods every day. Yes, that part You got it right. But there are other parts that would deal with the your mental stability. That these people harass you consistently. I mean, you deserve whatever they. This one of the things I was talking to a gentleman the other day. Is a preacher, and we were talking deep and had a long conversation, thinking of even running a business. We were talking about some people that are elevated, done well in the black community. They don't go out and like open up a restaurant so I could go in there with my girl and don't feel harassed. They don't open up a fancy boutique or a mall where I could go in and I don't feel harassed. They don't open up a hotel where I feel welcome. Even though I bust my butt to get up, I work real hard to get up there, and I'm not being rewarded. You know, so those are the things Africa got. Nobody's going to harass you. So that the peace of mind. You know, you don't have a lot of money or whatever, but you have peace. Nobody's going to harass you like that. You know, that's all I got to say.
Me over.
I will say this if I could. I wouldn't think that the people in South Africa will believe that nobody's harassing them.
And the police definitely harassed me when I was in Tanzania. They pulled me over multiple times and made me pay them just for me to be able to drive off. So that's police harassment.
Harass you? Okay, let me interject. Okay, when I'm driving,
I
stayed in Lusaka for 90 days, and I never got harassed one time by the police.
In South Africa, they're definitely being harassed by Africans.
When I leave my driveway, I'm adjusting my mirrors. Police see me over with my fancy car. They following me in a high end neighborhood.
I would tell you this: the fact that you're able to be in a high end neighborhood, you wouldn't have had that opportunity in the 1930s. I guarantee you that.
Listen, boss. This is 2026. I'm telling you.
The same for South Africa. They had apartheid. The freedoms that they enjoy now wasn't the same freedoms they had before you got there.
Finish, man.
Why are you telling me to shut up?
I'm not telling you to shut up.
Somebody else said that. But you don't even know our history.
I'm not gonna be rude to you like that, bro.
Fight for those opportunities for you to just go to a high-end restaurant in a white neighborhood.
Yeah, but I agree, but it's still not treating me right. They're not treating me right.
Well, they would have lynched you if we didn't fight for that.
You go to a regular mall right now, bro. They're following you.
My father's from Mississippi in the 1930s.
That ain't got nothing to do with you, bro. You a clown.
Y'all
talking about
disrespect.
My skin color,
it's on today, bro. You don't learn no other way, so it's on today.
My skin color.
Nah, bro, please don't.
They are definitely harassing Africans in South Africa.
Be civil, guys. Be civil.
I'm harassing you in South Africa, but I'm telling you about America's experience.
We definitely are not kicking Africans out of America like they're doing in South Africa.
Do not respond to it because you're trying to take the conversation.
Guys, let me pass the mic to Johnny. Go ahead, Johnny.
Do you have the power to kick Africans out of America?
I appreciate it, Dinas.
Go ahead, Johnny.
I just want. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, man.
Yes.
I was just saying. Yeah, all right. I was just saying. I don't think that necessarily the modern day countries of Africa would owe us because of the slave trade and the things that happened. I say we've been away long enough that we don't need to actually hold it against the people there. But I do think they do play a part in what happened for sure. And I think that they don't really own the part that they play, because I think that the same way we can kind of ask about, at least have a question about Europeans and the need for reparations and things from Europeans, the same question could be brought up against Africa. You know, obviously Europeans came and put up the borders that are modern day Africa to divide nations, you know, that was across each other. Like, for example, what you got in Congo and other places too, right? Masai Mara in Kenya and Tanzania. It's all throughout. It's divided just by mostly by artificial borders that divide these countries up. But I try to think more about what actually will unite us now, and what we will need to be united in the future, right? and what can bring us to prosperity. And a lot of it is not going to be in what we're doing now, where we kind of are looking for somebody to blame, or like, more divisiveness where it's cutting off bigger groups and stuff. I mean, people could say how they feel and stuff. Obviously, they got a lot behind it. But I think if everybody's, again, we're moving for the right things, we can't let that kind of stuff get in the way of progression. Again, do we need a bridge to Africa? Yes. Do we need to do business? I would say absolutely. There's a lot of things that a Black American can gain by living in Africa, or at least visit. Obviously, the thing with the money goes way further. Culturally, just seeing people that look like you, that you come in a daily contact with, and they have different, I guess you could say, like, temperaments. They got different attitudes towards life than what we kind of used to seeing. And then what you also will see if you go to some of the bigger cities, that there's also a melting pot. There's people from foreign places, from Europe, from Asia, that come and visit Africa as well. And there's obviously a lot of business-minded people, business opportunities, and they see that like another gold rush or something. And we can really capitalize on that as Americans. Some people are already doing the work and making that happen. I don't want to tell specifically what type of industries and stuff, but it's a lot going on there, and it's going to continue to grow. We all know about the what the projections and things is for the future. But basically what we kind of grew up as the American dream really exists in Africa. We always talk about here on the panel, or at least we used to, about how the Black Renaissance, there was a Black middle class Renaissance, and part of the Black middle class Renaissance includes a bridge to Africa, because that's how we do things in the modern day. There's a lot of trade, there's a lot of information and things that come across, and working with other countries that we might have been adversarial to, or we might have, that the United States might be adversarial to, that might be really beneficial to us as a people. And I guess I can end it by saying, we don't want to get sidetracked too much by these clowns that come out here among us. Obviously, these people will never visit Africa. He couldn't have visited Africa if he wanted to. He doesn't have the funds, and I doubt he could even figure out how to fill out a passport application, or definitely a visa to get there if he wanted to. If he could afford the trip. So I mean, you would just laying claim to historical success and stuff from people, because I think you're trying to cover up your modern failures that we obviously all see, but you're trying to use that as a crutch, and you keep using words like "we," but you're not actually, speaking of nothing positive or progressive, or nothing in your own life that you actually can kind of attest to as any type of real success, and it shows, bro. So I don't want to.
Okay, can I come in now? Yeah, can I come in now?
Not you. Let me finish. I'm not talking to you. I don't know who you are, but I'm talking to dude that was speaking earlier. I mean, he knows who he is. I'm pretty sure he knows who he is. But yeah, as far as it goes, yeah, I think I'm gonna just leave it at that, man. I said what I had to say, but yeah, we don't necessarily owe apology, but we got to keep it real on the parts of things that happen and stuff. We can't try to be like, oh, well, some of y'all over here did it too. Like that's what I mean, we got to take some more accountability and responsibility than that. And I'll leave it at
that. Thank you. Sorry,
let me pass the mic back to Fode, and then after Fode, I pass to Africa.
Okay. I want to say, man, hey, grown men and women who are mature have conversations with respect. Brother M, bro, you being very disrespectful, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Very disrespectful, man. You calling folks out their name and everything, fam. You can get your point across without being disrespectful, and you done cut down there everybody off who done came up here and speak, but a few people, fam. You being very disrespectful.
Who did I call out their name? What did I say?
Bro, you call people out their name, fam.
What did I say?
Call people clown. Calling somebody.
Yeah, you called me a clown.
Bro, you ain't mature. Be a grown man to have respect, fam. Simple.
For driving while black. Call me a clown.
So you got some matureness about yourself. If you want to represent the Black American community or whatever, however people identifying themselves these days. You know what
I
I'm
would
saying?
like to hear your opinion about the topic.
Who? You went off the topic all over the place, brother. You disrespected brothers who came up here on the panel. Calling people clowns. Come on, fam.
I don't remember calling anybody a clown.
See,
Yeah, you call me a
His
clown,
point
bro.
is he's trying to
You can't
he's
even
trying
me
to
a
teach you
clown.
to have decorum.
You
Regardless
call
of
me a
that,
clown, man.
regardless of that, I'm trying
I'm
to hear the
telling
opinion
you,
about the topic.
The topic is have
attachment to the
decorum
topic.
and
I
respect.
was telling you how you live in America, and I said police were tracking me, driving behind me, and stuff like that. It said the only reason they do that is because I'm a clown. No, because of the color of my skin.
I had not said nothing about being a clown. He's talking about.
Bro, you told me that. It's clear as day, bro.
You cut me off.
Yeah.
Boxer, name me one. Boxer, name me. Be patient. Bruh, I'm just saying, I'm listening, fam, and you ain't having a productive conversation.
Why don't you give an opinion about the topic, though?
If you got a problem with brothers coming over here from the continent and you got that much hatred in your heart, why don't you take
Who said I got a problem? I just told him in the 1930s he wouldn't have that opportunity to be inside of a high-end restaurant because we had Jim Crow segregation. What you talking about?
Yeah, but we're talking about 2026.
Bro,
and
you going
anyway,
back talking about 1930, fam? What do you mean?
1930 is relevant to today because without that we wouldn't be here right now. What you talking about? This is what we talking about slavery. That's 500 years ago.
Bruh, but I'm saying you can't say it's 2026 and we going back to 1930.
We're talking about 500 years ago, actually. What you talking about?
For brothers coming from the continent, why don't you go to the U.S. government and debate that and take that up with the U.S. The immigration department?
Yeah.
It's all right, bro. It can cuss me out. It's cool. It's cool.
I ain't got to curse nobody out.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
I never even cursed on this.
It's cool. It's cool, bro. You can be disrespectful all you want. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. It's cool.
I'm out. Left arm. Yeah, you finish part for it?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. I mean, first of all, Amara is people. They're one of the ethnic group that's settled in Freetown. In fact, one of the chief who actually allow, the British, and basically allow the British to have settlers in what you call Freetown today. He's one of his ancestors. So he's not. If you go back to to history, his people have never been wicked to FBA. So people like let's be civil, okay? I mean, Sierra Leoneans, we have done so much in the past and even current. It kind of shows. Look at Dynasty. You go to Freetown. Sierra Leone is one of the countries that actually offer, nationalities to Sierra Leone until recently. In fact, I think I know one of the reasons why it stopped. Mr. Kalfala, who is the head of the Sierra Leone relics, is the one that went to Parliament and he stopped it. Well, I forgot the reason why. But I'll find out. If Dennis really wants to know, I'll find out for you. I never brought that up before, but possibly I can do that for you. So basically, we have tried our best, as people, in recent times and go back to history. Us African people, we need to be careful also how we speak to African Americans. African Americans also, Shelley M. I understand your passion. I understand how you feel about the transatlantic slavery and what happened in the past. And it'll be quite rich for someone like me to say to you, "Oh, stop talking about it," because it's going to be an insult. Also, look, I grew up in the UK. I know exactly how it's like. When I came here, I grew up with Jamaicans and the Caribbeans, not only Jamaican, Caribbean brothers. Today, most of my friends are from the Caribbean. But when I basically came here, I went to school with them. All I was getting blamed for, your ancestors sold us as slaves. You are to blame. And it's like, they tend to shift most of the blame to the Africans. And I'm thinking, well, okay, what about the white man who actually done it? It's like, so it's like, but it's later on as years goes by, we get older, we get to know each other a bit more and things, we start feeling pain, as group of people, the political climate start changing. We realize, oh, okay, things are changing, so we need to work together. And today, I mean, as I said, most of the people who I had issue with back in the days were good friends. Most of them are from Jamaica, Trinidad, and so on. So it's not nothing here is permanent. Some of us that will be coming here today having an argument about FBA and Africans saying stuff is not permanent. It's all based on personal experiences, in my opinion. Based on who you met, and who what group of people that you grew up with and who you ally with. And I think it's gonna be like that, to be honest. But in terms of migrating to Africa, I think I will come from a different angle. I think the African government, if you want to have some form of reparation, it will have to be some form of land like Liberia. What you guys are saying earlier about going to the chiefs, I doubt it. Okay, I mean we have Amara, you yourself. Let's be honest about that. I mean, people in Freetown cannot have a land in outside Freetown. You know that. Okay, the Creole people cannot acquire land in your territory. Okay, so we have to be honest about that. You have to be from the ethnic groups outside to actually. Oh, sorry, it's gone, so I shouldn't have mentioned his name. So there's a lot of things. Even that's not just in Sierra Leone. Most African countries that where the chiefs actually own the land is a different thing. It's very difficult. So it's best to go to the government and have some form of reparation. I think Liberia, like African Americans, like the American Liberian and native Liberians should work together. I think that's something that needs to be done. It's a shame great African is gone because I wanted to engage him in terms of that. I think something, can be done. Something can be done in the future. Let them come together. Because M is making this really difficult by, bringing the past too much. We understand. Listen, I lost a lot during the Liberian Civil War. It spilled into my country, and then it spilled into other countries. So, I have my own beef, but I will not be permanently, grieving about it. So, in my humble opinion, I think African Americans and American Liberians should come together, and work into developing Liberia. Going to all these other countries, I don't think is in the long run is going to help because most of these African countries are just looking for foreign exchange, and they're looking for money.
I want to talk on that. I want to talk on that, please. Yeah, Africa.
Okay. Yeah, no problem, kid.
Yeah, so thank you for your input on that. But when it comes to that, I think you need to, because from the start today, they were saying that there were other people on the land. So you need to recognize, don't just say African Americans and American Liberians need to work together on the land, because there were other Africans on the land. So you need to also recognize us as well.
Oh yes, I agree.
I'm not saying it's like a pathetic group that are looking for pity, like to say no, we are fighters. Even if you don't recognize us, we'll fight to be recognized and we'll take what is ours. But I'm not also against American Liberian. I'm not. I don't hate American Liberians and I don't hate African Americans. Or let me just put it the Black Americans. Yes,
yeah.
I believe. But if it is about us working together, it is a good thing. But one thing that I learned from Albert Einstein is this. Albert Einstein said, using the same solution to solve a particular problem, and you're not getting, let me just say, using the same method to solve a particular problem, and you're seeing that there's no solution, it means you should change that strategy or you should change that method. You see, one of the problems that one of the ways America tried to just handle the situation was, people who have not seen each other for many years, I mean hundreds of years. You can't just come to just force them on people and just say unite. You don't just do that. There are ways people do those things. First of all, I was trying to explain it last time, but because of time, I couldn't continue. First of all, I said it the last time. I said the when it comes to ownership of the land or the heritage of the land, people who own a land is mostly owners of land, comes from lineage, it comes from bloodline. For example, in America now, The reason why people usually say America is a white country is because it was the white men that conquered that place for Native Americans as a heritage for their white children, not as a heritage for their mulatto children or mixed race children. No, they consider their mixed race children slave children or outcasts that should not inherit it with their white children. Yes, so that's why you see that casts America like that.
I
So
would say this. I would
whenever,
say this.
in fact, even I come in. No, let me end my statement. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know you think I'm trying to be. Maybe you might be
I'm not
thinking
even.
so,
I'm
but
not
I'm
worrying
not.
about what you're saying.
I'm
I want to
speaking.
respond to Africa.
No. I'm coming on. You will respond to that. Just when I'm coming, I will soon end. So if that should happen, the next one is it should not just be people, black people coming from across the world with foreign identity, unite on the land that where people on the they have an identity that is that native to the land, and they just unite on that land and be working with those black people who are native on that land as foreigners. There will be problem, except we try to identify the differences. We try to identify the differences. For example, the
But
black
I
people
would say
who are
this though.
mixed with
As
European,
far as
Let him finish.
the black people, the black people are
he's
coming
long
on just
winded.
the black people, the black people that are coming back to Africa, the black people that are coming back to Africa, if they come back to Africa as Africans, trying to unite with their African brothers and sisters, that is okay. We don't have issue with that. Let me tell you, that's why I say, do you know that not just first generation, but second generation and third generation Africans or that live from Africa. Let me just put it, for example, Sierra Leone, some of the
All right,
native Sierra
man.
Leone,
Let me respond
Fulani
to stuff. Let me respond to
if they come back from Sierra Leone and
Why
say
you
they
gotta
are going to
disrespect and
come
just
in,
he's
interrupt
gonna
and
keep
not
going.
finish speaking, man?
No, let him finish, man.
no,
He's
Please,
gonna keep going.
Your language is
so
crazy.
if
he
a
was making a
second
very
or
important
third
point.
generation, if a second or third generation Sierra Leonean leaves Sierra Leone, let's say he's from the tribe of, let's say he's a Fula man, but second or third who only knows America, when he comes back, do you think he will still not face difficulty integrating in Sierra Leone? Because he will come back, and what the first thing people will ask him when he start to lecture with Sierra Leoneans, have you noticed that anytime you're in a country, the first thing people will ask you, where are you from? What's your ethnic group? That's what they'll ask you. Then the next thing after they ask you for your name, then from there then they will start to know your family. So because of that, since he already have identified with his lineage or with his bloodline on the land, the Fula people in Sierra Leone, then it will
He's
be
gonna keep going.
easy
But I
for
would say
him
this
to
though. Let me
integrate
respond.
because
Let me
he
respond
already
to Africa real quick.
No, he will go. He will come. Okay, like, I
He's going
agree
to
with
go
you.
for 20 minutes. He don't know.
Okay, one
He don't
second.
know how to stop.
Let me respond. No, that's fine. Let me respond to Kedo. Kedo, like the American-Liberian, they already form an ethnic
Hey,
group
guys.
called American-Liberian.
We got some new people on the panel, so let me let me do this. Let me pass it back to Seattle Sankofa, to Jamar. Go ahead, Seattle.
Yeah, okay. So I really would like if people would just actually, before they start talking about all these things, just answer your questions. I haven't heard nobody really speak on the question that's in the title, but I want to say this. I agree when I heard one of the brothers say that when you talk about Africans selling the foundation of Black Americans, that's Black people here in America into slavery, that we are also descendants of some of those slave traders. That's correct. That we cannot deny that, and to try to get away from that would be crazy. And that's why with everything that I'm hearing, I hate to say this, but I feel like DNA and people, the fact that people aren't doing DNA tests in Africa on a large scale like they're doing in America is really leaving us at a major disconnect, because we don't realize that, yeah, we're probably talking to some of our fourth and fifth cousins right now. And we're just totally neglecting that fact. You know what I mean? But I just want to hear people speak more on what you posed in the title, Dynas. Let's stop jumping all over the place and focus. Use some focus so that way we don't have to argue about shit that's not even in the title. I want to hear people speak about what Dynas asked us, not everything else under the sun. Okay? That's
All
all
right,
I
let me
gotta
pass
say.
the mic to Jamar.
What does
Go
a
ahead, Jamar.
DNA test matter though?
I got to pass the mic to Jamar. Go ahead, Jamar.
The DNA test matters. Exactly what the brother said earlier. When he took the test, he was able to find at least 1,200 of his cousins that were here in America. When I took the DNA test and had my wife do it, I found that, and she's in Tanzania, I found at least 12 foundational Black Americans that she's related to, and her family has never left Tanzania.
I got to pass the mic. Go ahead, Jamar.
So does that bring y'all closer or something, or what?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, Jamar. Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to answer the question in the title of what we can do for our mother continent. I'd like to start off by saying we've done so much for people for free with whips and chains to us. It should be no nonsense to go do for our homeland. So to answer the question, we can bring intellectual capital and physical awareness. Using myself, for example, I work in the sports industry. My dream would be if I can be the minister of sport in Nigeria, maybe have an office in Abuja or Lagos.
Not to cut you, brother. Not to cut you, but I believe not to cut you. I'm sorry to cut you, but I believe it was very specific. I think he asked, "What can Africa do for us?"
There was a second question as well, and I'm being specific answering the second question. You'll let me finish, please. So again, the second question he asked was, "What can we do for Africa?" And that's what I like to focus on. So again, using my profession here in collegiate athletics, I like to be the minister of sport and have an office somewhere in Abuja or Lagos, develop sports like there's done over here, send collegiate students to HBCUs in America and bring them back and develop a pipeline. The second part I talked about was physical awareness. What most people always talk about is people from the continent don't like me and this and that. It's not about that. It's your mental and physical awareness. If you go to them talking as them, they treat you as them. So being over there, not only in Nigeria, but other countries will bring that physical awareness to get that bridge. So we can see more people coming to the shores in reverence to the African family statue in Senegal. We should be littering the shores of West Africa. Whatever country you would like, bringing again your intellectual capital for whatever you do over here and your physical awareness within the people, so that way they can learn from you, and then you'll learn from them as well.
May I speak after whoever's next in line if anyone's new?
Good point.
Go ahead, Africa. Africa. Yeah, go ahead, Africa.
Yeah, I mean, I that's the point I was making earlier. Is about basically, yeah, I think the African leaders, who, for example, John Mahama, who is leading the reparation, he must have done in-depth study about the African American or the African diaspora issue. And to be honest, I think the ECOWAS, not only the ECOWAS current ECOWAS, but the ECOWAS as the body. For example, I am very surprised. Nigeria is actually quiet about this. To be honest, you should wait when Nigeria have a leadership. I think Nigeria is heavily, heavily responsible for the transatlantic slave trade. I think Nigeria should be at the forefront of all the conversation that we have today. But it's funny, nobody mentioned Nigeria. It's obviously smaller countries. And until they have a strong leader, who's Pan-African, because it did have strong leaders in the past who are Pan-African, you know, this will not change. You need to go find out. You need to wait, or maybe you need to try and lobby hard and get a strong leader in Nigeria who is a good Pan-African, who can actually help you achieve some of these, goals. Because I think 100%, as my brother Katie was saying, yes, some people might find it difficult to integrate in Africa, but I believe, listening to some of the brothers here, some brothers here will never find it difficult to integrate in Africa. They already have that mindset. So I do have a belief that the FBA mindset, I don't think they're interested in Africa anyway, so we'll just leave that aside. So now, what? Yeah, absolutely. So I think we have more in common. Like trade would be a factor. You know, uh, Culture is a factor. There's so many reasons for us to work together than not to work together. So I mean, as Liberia is just a talking point because that's where the African Americans went, and sadly, when Great Africa was saying Caribbeans were at the influence in America in Liberia, that's not true. Majority of the people who went to Liberia, African American, Majority of the Caribbeans went to Sierra Leone, and tiny bit of others and local Africans. So, so there's sometimes we need to just be honest about it. And I think Kato made a good point also about about how you can assimilate into the ethnic group side of it. Like Dynasty, he assimilate to the Yoruba and the Mende people, and I'm sure Fode also, you got Fode Conte. He sounds like he have a, ancestral root to the north of Sierra Leone. He sound very confident about returning to Africa. So there's a lot more to
Yeah, I think 4 day is Timney.
exactly. When I saw him, and when I saw him, he looked like Chimney anyway. So it's like what I do is, it's so the thing is we have more in common. That is when I first saw you, I said you're Mendy, and I saw Brandon. I said Brandon was fuller, and I sometimes it's easy to see. I am very good at looking at ethnicity, their phenotype, and be able to tell 90% of the time. And so it is what it is. We just need to work together. This division needs to stop. And I think, the Pan Africans haters who actually hate FBA African Americans need to stop. These FBA haters towards Africans need to stop. It just need to stop. Period. It's not going to help get us nowhere. We
Yeah,
have
you
more in
can't
common.
you
Can I
can't let
can I
one
talk
dumbass
after
talking
Angola?
reckless like give you a whole opinion on a group.
Dinus,
It
can I
doesn't
talk
make
after
sense,
Angola?
especially if it's online.
Yeah,
Uh, you see,
absolutely.
Well, hold on. Let me make sure. Hold on one second. Let me make sure. Jamar, you done?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a little comment on what they were just saying. So the difference is not assimilation, it's knowing. So how many people in America like to chew on sunflower seeds? A goosey. You already eat sweet potatoes, you like to grill meat all the time. There's so many things that are common because we brought them over. You just don't understand that. So once you learn and get knowledge, you realize there's no difference. Thank you, Dennis.
No.
All right, can I say something quick?
can I go?
Hello.
No,
Go ahead.
actually is M. Go ahead, M.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Excuse me, one more thing. I'm
Thank you.
talking about we just started a chapter in Lagos. So we're showing Omega Psi Phi. We have a chapter in Lagos now. So we're doing things to actually bridge this gap or whatever physically.
That's good.
I think the
Okay.
one thing
Yeah, I want
Africa.
to say I want
Hold
to
on, hold
say
on, hold
something
on.
to that.
I think he
It's
just
not.
passed me the mic.
It's M. It's M's turn. It's M.
I
Go ahead,
think
M.
the one thing that Africa can give us that is absolutely free, that costs absolutely nothing, probably their pride and ego, is to give us equal respect. We're not slaves no more. I'm tired of seeing slave movies. I'm tired of seeing documentaries about it. We know what happened. We saw Roots growing up. We've been, I guess, traumatized watching Kunta Kinte getting whooped, and then a reenactment. I think John Donis did a show about the reenactment, and I was saying they must have some type of fetish or some type of, sick, twisted fantasy about seeing us suffering. But we don't need this. We don't need that narrative being displayed. We're not that no more. We didn't evolve. We didn't developed. I don't think. I don't. The reason I bring up Liberia so much is I don't like the erasure. They want to discount and erase the people that actually came back and had a successful republic that survived during colonialism, that was on the world stage with the Ottoman Empire, these great empires, and they honored the Black American Republic. And these people want to say, "Oh, that never happened." They just did the erasure, and I fear if we don't get respect, if we don't have like a seat at the table on these councils in Africa to represent our interests, they're going to see us as slaves, or they might do what they did, lure us back in to exploit and extract our resources, or let us build an empire again and just wipe us out. Because if they don't see us as equal and human beings, we just cattle to them.
All right, can I?
So
I
what
want to
makes
say
you think
something
they don't see us as human beings? And
But
then what do you think we should
they
do to
still
get
calling us
respect?
slaves. The guy earlier said we don't want you
Bro,
here.
those are people. Those are not groups. They're not
This is a
institutions.
sentiment that's shared. This is like a
It's not
consensus.
sentiment that's shared, bro. You never been to Africa.
They don't
You never
talk to
seen how they
people.
talk to
They
people
don't
over
really
there.
show us equal respect. They don't see us as it's like
Bro,
what happened in
you have to
Zanzibar
go there to see
or
how people treat
Rwanda.
you.
when they start seeing the people as roaches, cockroaches, and less human, then it justifies their
you
slaughter.
letting too much TV and stuff get to your head,
Look,
bro.
listen,
It's not
listen,
like
it
that.
happened.
I'm
It
telling you
happened
now.
in Liberia.
If that ever happened, bro, if that ever happened, I would never go back to Africa. That ever happened to me. If I had
They
any type
slaughtered
of
the
disrespect that
Liberians.
happened.
Johnny, I'm talking. The host is talking.
Oh my God, man, I can't. You don't understand what I'm trying to say, or you don't want to understand it.
No, Johnny, I'm just saying the host is talking. Johnny, what I'm saying is M has never traveled to Africa. So, I let everybody come on, but M's never he's never. I don't. M, have you ever left Chicago?
Come on, man. I'm
being honest.
Yes, I have. I was in a relationship with a Liberian, so I know a lot of the history. You see what I'm saying? I know about what happened during the Civil War. They was eating hearts. Like the lady was there when she was fleeing, when they was killing people with Charles Taylor when they took him out. So I know a lot about. I done researched it because I was with this African chick. I was actually going to go, but we just broke up. But I'm saying this though, I don't want what happened in Liberia to happen again. We go over there and build up an empire, or we invest so much money and they just come in and just take it from us like they do in America. So we need to get them to respect us. It need to be some type of constitutional act, or it should be some shared idea that they should see us as human beings or equal. We're not slaves no more.
You never did
We're not that no more. We're not slaves no more. We're not coming back as slaves. We don't need to be seeing these slave stories or having like the idea of us being former slave. That was 500 years ago.
Can I be heard?
That's something you need people to respond to you. You need actual Liberians to respond to you. Yeah, so let an actual Liberian respond to you. Let me respond to you now. So what I think from your conversation, you are making a lot of people to know that you are ignorant about a lot of things. If you watch a lot of videos online, it's not just an online experience. I really like for you to buy a plane ticket and come to Africa. If you think that Africans hate you, buy a plane ticket and come to Africa. Just try it once.
They don't hate us. They don't hate us. They just don't see us as their brothers and sisters. I've been there a few times. I've been there 3 times. They don't see us as their brothers and sisters. They got all kind of little weird names for us. They know that we're American. They know we're black. They know our ancestors come from Africa, but they laugh and they scoff in our face. So that's what we're talking about. It's disrespect.
Oh my God.
Hold on, bro. Let me tell you something. With the Brazil, if you check Lagos, like Nigeria, Lagos, the big land owned in Lagos is being owned by the Brazil returnees. But the Brazil returnees that came back,
the Saros.
That's not the Saro or the Creoles. The Brazilians or something.
I was saying something.
They one group.
No. Let Kidola finish. Go ahead, Kidola.
May I speak after him?
Please.
Yeah, you speak after Kidola.
With the Brazil who returned back to Nigeria, they acquire maybe that time like if you begin by that Akitola. Up to today, Lagos State government is paying those lands to. When you hear about Lagosians, the Lagosians you hear about actually those Brazil that return. Huge land, Ileki, they own the Ileki. They own the heart of the business centers of Lagos. They're getting rent for those ground every time. They didn't sell it. They rent out to the government. They earn a huge amount of money. The former richest man of Lagos was Fernandez. He's late now. But they were actually not blaming the Africans. Oh, you sold us or blah, blah, blah. They understand. Even then, they didn't just start selecting people to take. You cannot blame ordinary Africans who don't have nothing, about these things. Some of them, their mothers, their sisters also be stolen also. Families are crying. They also brought some people from other part of maybe Africa or close region of to some city area that they actually belong there, but later they just assimilate their own land, everything there. If you want to return back to Africa and you want to know Africa, yeah, it's a different place now. Different mentality, different everything. You have to be patient to be able to know who are these people. You have to be patient, yeah. They might look at you one kind, you must see funny. You understand? If I also talk to Black Americans, when I met them the first time, they also thought I'm funny also with my accent. You both have to be, okay, this is how they look me, they don't know too much. They also be surprised. Some of them don't even know what actually happened way back. So you attacking Africans like what we say in YouTube, and every time calling us names, that name, this name, this name. It actually don't do nothing to us. If I finish, I go back to my village, I take a walk around my street, whereby I want to develop my land or build my house. I call my friend, we sit on the bench, we discuss, we drink tea, wine together, we eat, and say goodbye. So you attacking me doesn't have nothing to do with me. So we should be very patient with each other and see if we can have anything to do with each other. If you want Africa to start taking DNA, a group of Black Americans have to come to Africa and say, hey, brothers and sisters, want us to start taking there's a confusion somewhere. Majority of them will jump into, so okay, let's see. Before you know, people who doesn't know their brothers will be taken away. When did this thing happen? Who took who? So that's why I say you people are not so special, because you people came from somewhere, family were also grieving that their children, their sisters, their brothers will also be taken away to somewhere they don't even know nothing about, by a group of middlemen, kings, and human trafficker grabbers. So please don't blame us for things that you blame us we don't even know nothing about. We
With all due
ourselves we taking our
respect,
mind. Thank you,
we
bro.
done overcame slavery
Are they Amaros?
150
Are they
years ago.
Agodas? They call them Agodas, isn't it? In Lagos, is it Agoda or I forgot now. Those Brazilians.
No,
There's
What's
somebody
the name of
on
them?
the panel that hasn't
they
spoken yet.
own all those. They
African,
own all those land. They didn't sell it. They rent it to the
Yeah,
They rent it to the government.
Agodas,
The government is pay heavily
Agodas or
on those
Amaros.
land. It's all leave. Those boys are fucking rich. you know.
the brother good King Justice hasn't spoken yet, but I think the
Oh
Diamond.
yeah. Let me, go ahead, Angola. Go ahead. I got past the King Good.
Nah, the person
Good
that
King.
hasn't speak gets precedence. He can speak before me because he hasn't given
Okay,
his
that's fine.
opinion.
Okay, all right. Good King Justice. Go ahead.
Peace, you can hear me, bro?
Loud and clear.
All right. What does Africa owe us as African Americans is a great question, but I think the better question is what do we as African Americans owe ourselves? And I am an African American. If you take a look at our ethnic group, we are severely disorganized. It's not one organization here in America that has 1 million card-carrying African Americans, and it's 40 million of us. So if you ask the African governments to give us something, and then they look over here and they see Tariq Nasheed is the head of FBA, they spewing nonsense. The Moors spew nonsense. The Hebrews spew nonsense. Farrakhan been around for 60 years, never got anything done. Why would you want us over there? When we get organized over here, then we can get whatever from any African country. But the reason we don't have anything is because we don't agree on anything. Even reparations, it's still Black Americans, African Americans that'll tell you, no, we don't need reparations. We don't agree on who we are. We don't agree on what we want. We don't agree on where we're going. So once we fix that issue, then we can hold Africa to a higher standard. Yes, they should probably give us land. Yes, they had a role in our enslavement, but we need to look within and fix our own problems, and then look over there and see what we can get from Africa. And then I'll pass.
That's right. That's a balanced approach. I like that.
May I speak now?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Ngolo.
I think, bro, just honestly, bro, Black people is very serious about not being very serious, bro. Like, it's just like when the people that are coming on here and complaining about their perception about what's on the continent, even the people on the continent complaining about their perception of people that are not on the continent, bro. It's just a recipe for disaster. If anybody that's serious, bro, and you want a blueprint of what to do before you're trying to re-ingratiate yourself in the continent, Obenfo Obadele Kambon is a perfect example. The man had a direct area he was finna go. He had a direct area in which he was finna implement a sector of an industry, whatever that he's going to implement. He knew the language. He was ingratiated in the culture, and his family is already ingratiated within African culture. Y'all coming over there trying to bring America in Africa. It's just nonsense. You're gonna just go over there and create more confusion. You're not gonna do anything productive. Like, we don't need no more sports teams. We don't need no more the letter organizations, bro. We need people that's really gonna implement power, refine raw materials, manufacture weapons. We need real infrastructure build. We don't need all this ancillary stuff, bro. Like, be for real. if you're gonna say that you have this connection with the continent, then really exude the culture. Don't come over there trying to be no European and then complain when they don't accept you because you're trying to be different than your own self. If it's in you, it's in you. If it's on you, it's on you. If it's on you, they gonna smell it on you. You're not serious. That's my thing, bro. Like, don't come complaining about other people's disposition towards you and you acting culturally like a European, bro. It's not gonna work.
Yeah,
Can I
I mean,
respond?
that's true. Even with the Africans that are born there, when they come back,
My thing is,
the
they don't
same
have a
thing.
problem with the
I
European
think
being a
Kato
European.
wanted to respond.
The
I mean, Kato
European could be
respond.
all the European he want in Africa. You love him, but we can't be a
I want
European.
to say something.
You love the white European in Africa, though. You still speak his languages.
Yeah, let Kato say other word. Yeah.
To respond
Go on.
and
So
earlier,
today, I'm coming up. My brother, please. Come on, brother. Let me just give my point shortly, please. Today, when we were talking today, somebody said that Africans look at them as slaves, and the reason I've said this is because that sometimes I've observed this energy, like from some Black Americans, and when it comes to the African continent, they just have this kind of thought. Some, I'm not saying all, but some just have the thought that even though yes, they have other thinking towards Africans, but when it comes to that, there are some that always bring out this point, and they will say, "Why do we say to that? Why do they look at us as slaves?" What one thing is this: as somebody who believe in doing the right thing more than doing a good thing, because sometimes, as a matter of fact, there are some good things that are wrong. So if you see that people are calling you a certain way, sometimes try to analyze it and say, what is wrong? Why are people calling me that way? What is the reason? And try to get to understand that. And one of the reasons is, we all know that Black Americans are freedmen. But even though you guys are freedmen, there's, you guys stay in America. Your current status in America, it is because of because sometimes people look at your status somewhere and sometimes make some assumptions like that. And but don't let that get to you. We have, like that. You guys have had some great achievement. We have some respect for you, right? But you guys need to work on your identity issues. Yes, you need to work on your identity issues. It will help you a whole lot. Not just Africans alone, because not just Africans alone. I've seen Black Americans say this too. Sometimes when they even go to Asia, they say that sometimes they say that watch a video of a Chinese girl and a Black American man. A Chinese girl called a Black American man slave in China. So work on your identity, because sometimes even though you are a free man, but you need to work on your identity.
Hey, Zionist, can I ask you a question?
No, hang on, Kato. Even us African, some of us have that problem. And when we go outside the continent,
it's the same dynamic. It's the same majority. Like what he just said is disingenuous. This is what I'll be talking about. Everybody in every tip, every inch of the earth that's Black has the same problem with the identity,
same
bro.
problem.
Everybody's trying to run away from being who they are, bro.
Yeah,
so
that's my point. That's my point. Before you cut me off, that's my point. So anywhere we go, we're gonna. This is what brings us together. This is one thing. This is, if we're not unite based on this alone, we're in a deep problem. I'm telling you, because anywhere we are in the world, this is what I'm trying to say to you earlier. The same problem we had with the Caribbeans here. I grew up in the Caribbean. I speak very, very close to the Caribbean. My culture, everything, I fit in the Caribbean culture in the UK. I understand them. That understand their psyche. They understand me very well. Okay, but what united us more was what we're feeling out there. When the political climate changed, we actually came together, and today we're more stronger than we used to be. And that's what I'm hoping for in America. And I don't know why, but there's some sort of group of Africans that are going to America who also are not helping. They fail in this issue. I don't know. I don't want to go into nationality, but I think there's a group. They've been chased out of South Africa. They've been chased out of a lot of countries they go. They have came to the
Don't try to
Europe
blame
and UK.
Nigerians.
Yes, They
Don't try to
came to the
blame that.
UK.
Don't try to scapegoat Nigerians.
Bro, let him finish real quick.
Circular, bro. Y'all cannot
No,
help y'all, bro.
no, but
They can't get.
I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying all of
But
them.
you still
But
castigate, bro. We all you're gonna find these we all have the same pathology. The minute we don't, the minute we accept it, the
yeah.
minute
We
we
have,
can move forward, bro.
I agree. I put my hands up. I agree with that. 100%.
I want to make a comment though, real quick. Yeah, I want to make a comment real quick to dude who said he's been to Tanzania 3 times and that they didn't treat him right or whatever. That's a crazy thing to say, but I mean, Flex, you already touched on why. But
stop. Let me clarify. Listen. When you go there as a Black American, it's not that they don't treat you good or whatever. It's not like somebody's throwing things at me or they're jeering. But people, they have certain little names for you. Whatever names that they call white folks, that's what they call us Americans. They call us the same damn things. Okay, they don't say brother or sister. They got whatever name that they have.
Hold on.
Then on
they will
top of
say that to you, African who were born in
bro,
hold
on. Let him finish.
Because I don't want you to put words in my mouth. Secondly, my
I want him to
experience
say it,
was that,
and I got it.
No, I'm not.
I want to speak this is my lived experience. I'm talking about this is my lived experience when I go there.
Okay.
Secondly, the way that folks the way that some folks will harass you for money is crazy to me. Okay, that's something that I had a difficult time with. They assume just because we're American that we have a whole bunch of money. They will try to get you for your money. And as Black Americans growing up in the hood, we know how to always look for scams, look for anybody that's overcharging us on something. We're always super high vigilant to that type of behavior and activity, and we don't go for it. So when I'm there in Africa, it's happening a lot. People are trying to get over. Okay, you have little things like that that's happening. So I'm not saying that everybody treated me bad or everything like that. No, I'm just saying that there's certain cultural norms that need to be broken. If it's a lack of education or whatever it may be, I don't know.
We just some
okay. All right. Let me ask you this.
I get the same problem in Africa.
Hold on.
When I go to Africa on holiday,
let me talk.
I get the same problem.
Let me talk, bro. All right. Let me ask you now this question. All right. You said your wife is from Tanzania, right?
That's right.
Okay. Can you tell me one sentence in Swahili?
So because
what is that going to prove?
Exactly. Like where are you?
Now, that's a huge point. The culture is language, man.
This is my point. No,
y'all go out.
Bro, y'all gotta shut up and let me talk, bro. No, it's too much.
That's a good point.
There's too much going on. Let me talk. No. Nobody don't say shit. Let me get to my point, okay?
Man, get out of here.
This is my point.
I can say the Black national anthem in Swahili. We did that every day when I was at elementary school.
Bro, you can't say shit, bro.
No one's talking to you, Will. It's between no one interrupt. It's between Johnny and Seattle.
I already know where he's going.
He's saying because I don't speak
Swahili that I should expect this type of treatment. If that's the case, so be it. I'll give him that opinion. That's his opinion.
I'm saying you went over there as a foreigner, bro. You can. No. I'm explaining it to you because since you don't seem to get it, bro. Why you got the reception you did and the 3 times you went there, and I haven't. All right.
It's not time out, brother.
Let me explain it, bro.
It's not that I don't get it. I do get it, but it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. That's what I'm saying.
No. Let me explain my point, bro. Let me explain my point, bro.
We speak English. We've been in America for hundreds of years. We don't grow up speaking Swahili or other West African languages.
You don't have to grow up.
So when we go back to Africa to visit or whatever the case may be, we're gonna speak English. Okay, that's just the bottom line.
You can get mad and try to step on the point, but you don't understand the basics, bro. I'm gonna explain what I'm gonna say anyway. What I'm saying is, yeah, you grew up speaking English, but your wife is. Let me get to my point, bro. Your wife, supposedly the woman you're marrying, speaks Swahili, but you can't speak one word. But you're trying to integrate. You're trying to assimilate. My question would be, why would you even go there in the first place? You went there basically waving a wallet at an American flag and got wonder why people was trying to play you out of money. You came there trying to be different, bro.
I went there. This is why I went there. You asked me a question, so don't speak for me. The reason why I went was because I take DNA tests as a hobby. I love genealogy. I love building family trees, and I like taking DNA tests. When I took 23andMe, it connected my bloodline back to the Hazarbe. And that's why I went back to go visit. Okay. I traveled around a few different places from Arusha to Bagamoyo, Zanzibar, and a few other places. So I went back because the DNA test took me back there. I didn't go back there to try to wave around my wallet. Don't put words in
Did
my
you
mouth.
go? Did you
Okay?
did you go back trying to did you go back trying to integrate with people, or did you come back with American arrogance trying to show how different you were and wonder why you got treated differently, bro? That's what my question is.
Just you
Okay?
even posing
Because
that,
you got
just you posing that question to me is ignorant. You don't know me, brother.
it's
You
not
don't know me, so
ignorant. I
don't
don't
put
know
that
you.
type of
I
code on
don't
me.
know you,
When
but
I
I'm
went
telling
back
you,
to Africa, listen. So let me tell you then, instead of you speaking for me and telling me that I did this and I did that,
I'm
because
not
you're
speaking
wrong.
for you,
When I
bro.
went back to
I'm not
Africa,
speaking for you.
listen, when I went back to Africa, well, let me tell you so I can clarify so you don't keep putting words that I'm not saying. That's not my experience. I went back to Africa because yes, I am an African American. I wanted to know where my ancestors came from 3, 4, 5, 6 generations ago. That's why I did the DNA test. That's why I went back to Tanzania, because it told me my bloodline from my from my paternal father's line has never been broken. It remained African. No European man crept in and broke that line. It led me back to the Hazabe. I was interested in that. So I said, you know what? Instead of just going back to West Africa, which is what I was going to do directly, I said, let me go back to the oldest places saying my DNA stems from. That's why I went back. It was for nothing else that you're talking about, buddy. So
All
please
right.
don't put words in my mouth. Speak for me and say I did this and I did that. That's ignorant.
All right. I'm not gonna say
All right.
nothing more directly about the issue with you. I mean, I think I already kind of proved the point
There
with
is
that,
no
but
issue with me. You didn't prove
no,
nothing.
no issue with you. I didn't mean like directly like a personal issue. I'm not trying to like start no internet beef or nothing like that. I meant like specifically like the reason behind the reception you got. But no, I'm not trying to make nothing personal. If you got that notion, then I apologize for that. But I'm
He
just
should be
saying
he should
people
be
got to come
honored
there.
for going to Africa. Like, just like
Listen
Dinah's
to what I'm
going to
saying,
Africa.
bro.
So
Hold
Dinah,
on, bro.
Dinah,
Hold
Dinah,
on. Hold on. All right. You got it when you go there, like I did, right? I was ready to learn. All right. I was ready to assimilate. All right. I was ready to see how they do things and learn from their culture. Not try to come in there trying to just show how different I am or that I'm an American or anything like that, or like trying to get something for status. I wanted to see how it was to live amongst people that literally just look like you and you just fit right in. You know, I didn't go nowhere as they was like foreigners or treat them
That
like
was my
foreigners.
same.
Obviously,
Bro,
I'm talking about for
my
myself,
same
bro.
sentiment.
Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. I'm talking about for myself. But I noticed and I
I'm
did
not trying to
study.
interrupt you. I'm just saying that was
Bro,
what
then
you're
let me
saying.
talk
That's the
then.
same
Good
reason
for
why I
you.
went. I'm not
Good for
trying
you,
to
bro.
interrupt.
Good for you, bro. Good for you. Let me finish.
good.
So I
I
made sure
respect
that
that.
I was able to, bro. Can I talk, or do we need to make it personal again?
Hey, Dinah, can I ask you a question after they finish?
Now, when I got there, when I got there, I made sure that I was able to at least communicate on a basic level to people, and they really appreciated it. They were surprised. The Uber drivers and Bajaji drivers were surprised that I could say even just one word, one sentence and stuff. And I'm having full conversations and buying things at the market and stuff, and just talking with people amongst people. When I went to Mwenge and Makumbushu, I knew how to communicate with the people and everything because I put in the effort, and they appreciated that effort. So nobody tried to scam me in Tanzania. All right, nobody tried to play me. Nobody called me Mzungu or no crazy names like that. I would have understood it if they did. All right, so I knew how I was being treated by people. The most furthest thing off is people will call me Ngeni, which is a guest. Other than that, it was the same thing as everybody else, man. I knew what I was getting into, and I made sure I did the work to understand. And when I was there, I was surprised that I was speaking these people in their language, and they appreciated it. And that's the same mindset. I'm not saying everybody got to go and learn another language. I mean, it would make sense if you're marrying somebody from a different culture to speak something, but just to make sure that you go there with the right mindsets and stuff, because a lot of stuff is on us as Americans that we don't really see we bring with us in other countries and how we look like. There is something called American arrogance that we carry, and that it's going to make it hard for you in every other country. And whenever I see videos of people who kind of failed in Africa and stuff, when they put these videos on YouTube and all that, I always see that they always mention something like, "Oh yeah, I got played here," or I didn't understand nothing nobody was saying. Even the smallest bit of effort, bro, to educate yourself about how other people do things and about how they speak is going to give you a lot of insight into their mindsets, and they can get you can get them a lot of into your mindset as well. So, I mean, it's valuable to do that. Just the small steps and stuff. People appreciate that a lot. The food, if you don't look at it like it's foreign, it's not crazy. like people feeding you bugs and shit. Just eat the food or just enjoy it or just appreciate the experience and stuff, man. But you got to make sure you have the right mindset. I know a lot of people ain't serious about going anyway, but like Flex was saying, bro, you got to come with a mindset ready to bridge and ready to build, and not no superiority or no high horse type thing. You got to be willing to meet people where they at, and people willing to meet you where you at, and you start building something from there. But I'll let it go with that.
I got a
I
question.
respect
All
that.
right,
I respect that.
yeah.
I got a
Please.
question for the host
Let
or
me say this to
anybody.
you quick. So I'm coming. Sorry, please, just a minute. You just want to ask a question, please. So I want to tell you, Seattle Sankofa is this: Africans who spend their life, who spend most of their life in Western countries, when they come back to Africa, sometimes, many times, they do the same thing to them. They even, because one of the reason is their accent. If they come back speaking an American accent in Liberia, they, like, sometimes there are good people and bad people. Some bad people might want to take advantage of you and want to overcharge you. It happens like that. Like, for example, I have a cousin who lives in Australia. He came back recently, and when he came back, and for a fact that I'm not American Liberian, I'm native. So he's also native. So when he came back to Liberia, people, like, was telling, they saw him as, like, even though they know that he's one of us, but they say that he's been away for a while. Some people try to take advantage of him. His accent, people was listening to his accent. His accent sounded Australian. Then they say, oh, they started to
Hey,
overcharge him
with all due
sometimes.
respect, with all due
Yeah, so
respect,
so
when it comes
those
to this
things
type
happen.
of
So
discussion,
no, man. Don't cut me off, please. Let me end my statement.
go
So
ahead. You gonna go for
those
20
things
minutes?
happen. Yeah, so those things happen. And the next thing is this: nobody is telling you that when you come to Africa, you should not you should not mingle. In Africa, there are civilized people in Africa, and there are people in Africa. Let's give it a fact. We need to say the truth and be there. Like, we need to identify and barbarism and civilized ways. Because if we don't do that, we will not go anywhere. There are civilized people
Okay.
and uncivilized people in Africa. So nobody is telling you when you come to Africa you should mingle with, you should do the you should only mingle with the uncivilized. When you are you are from America, right? You have some civilized friends and all of that. You come to Africa, there are some educated people in Africa, there are some upper class people in Africa that are very educated, that are top class A
I mean,
intellectuals,
as far
very
as
brilliant people.
classism and
There are a
whatnot,
lot of people there
that's
that
not what I'm
you can
talking about.
interact with. A lot of black Africans.
Hold
No,
on,
give me
let me
chance, man.
talk.
Come on,
Let me talk
man.
real
No,
quick.
man. No, I don't like what you doing,
Y'all don't want to
man.
hear
Come
the
on,
truth.
man. You are
This is what I'm gonna
disturbing me.
say,
I want
right?
to end my statement.
Listen, you're gonna
No,
go for
come
20
on,
minutes,
man.
but
No, no,
let me
Janet,
say
you see,
something.
Janet, you see
Yeah,
what this
Okay.
yeah,
man is doing? You see what this man is doing?
Godor. I don't know.
I was gonna ask Dynas a question because
Man,
this is
come on.
like
Why do you
something
even know what
I
I'm
would
talking
assume he
about?
would know. Can
Go
I
ahead,
ask you a
Em.
question, Dynas?
I'm
Have you
telling,
ever read the
I'm
book?
educating a man about
Hold on.
how to
M is
integrate in
asking me a
Africa.
question.
I'm telling him about people that
M
happen
is
in Africa.
asking. M is
And
asking me a question.
and this
So you got to
question
chill
is
out. Go ahead.
relevant to the discussion. Have you ever read Invisible Man? The book Invisible Man? It's been banned in like the East Coast, I think.
Was it based on a movie too?
I think no,
It
not
sounds,
the movie.
What's your question? What's your question?
Okay, the question is in the book. Remember, basically the Invisible Man it was written around the Jim Crow era, and it was about white people how they see us based on their own preconceived notions, and they don't really see us. And when we actually display prestige and excellence, they see that as a fluke. They ignore it. That's when they say we invisible. And the guy who was just talking, when he said we see you as freedmen, he basically validated that regardless of what we do, they're going to project their preconceived notion of us that we're slaves from 500 years ago. And there's nothing we can do about it. It's something they
Bro,
have to
why
do
don't you
about it.
visit there and understand, man? You sound like somebody who watched too
I
much
just
of the news
mentioned
and is like hella
a book
scared.
that we learned in college. Like this book was dealing with the Jim Crow era, how white people couldn't see prestige. Like if you a brain surgeon, you a doctor, they're gonna punish you because they say that's not you. They're gonna reward you when you actually demonstrate the stereotype that
How
they
can you
want to
have that
see.
thought about Africans if it's black
They
Americans
see
that
us
call
as
themselves
slaves.
freedmen,
And
though?
what he
They
was
can't
saying
see
is
us as nothing but slaves. They can't see the prestige, the glory, the great like Liberia. They was having they built railroads like it was a modern society, and
This
they
dude's a
couldn't accept
clown.
it. Like
But
the
I
guy
think you
say,
projected,
the
brother.
guy
You
in
like one
Angola
person
say,
acting like
You
you're
got too much
European.
no,
This is
smoke,
the
bro.
listen,
That's
concept
all.
listen.
That's
I
all.
can't
Okay,
even
fine.
finish a
That's
statement,
not
right?
because you tell
So
yourself about
Angola
the topic.
said that black people cannot go
what
to
he was saying
Africa
is,
acting like
yeah,
Europeans. But he don't got
sorry,
a problem with Europeans acting like Europeans. So that say they
I
can't
definitely
treat
have
us
a
as
You
problem
can
with
go,
slaves.
that.
but you
I
can't
want them
expect to
all.
But
be
They should
getting
all
treated
slaves,
be
the
gone.
same. That's my
They should
point,
all
bro.
be
You can't
gone.
go
That's
over
what
there
I'm saying.
doing
what
things and expecting to be
you
treated the
can't.
same.
I
what
That's
he
mean,
was
acting
we
like
saying,
an
actually
outsider.
are
even the
prestigious and
Africans
we
who
actually
return
are
to Africa
excellent.
get treated
Why
the
can't you
same.
just
That's what he was
accept
saying.
it? Why can't you
Nah,
just
it's
Yeah.
not no
accept it? You
acceptance.
say, "Oh, you
I
acting
don't
like an
accept black
arrogant
people that want
American."
to be Europeans,
What
bro.
is an
That's just
That's
arrogant
a
wrong.
real
American?
thing. That's a real thing, bro. If you
But
go
what if
Black
we
somewhere
people
just
want to
acting
be
a certain way,
what
then
if
how
we're
could you
just
expect to be treated
sophisticated
like
and
equals,
excellent, and
like
you
the
can't
people there?
accept it? You say you're gonna reduce us
Do you
to
know
what you
when I
think
Bro,
go
we
you
to
don't
are
got to
as
Africa, I
worry
a
get
about it
black
because you
treated
ain't
the
Stay
going
same
in
nowhere
way.
the
anyway,
U.S.,
man.
bro.
I don't even
Just
get your
stay
point.
in
Dang, but can I
America,
get
bro.
The
some
guy
pushback to
said he
something
see us as
Nicola
freed
said?
men or slaves or something. They
Brother,
can't see
brother,
us as
just stay
nothing
in
more.
You know when I go
America,
to
brother.
Africa, I get
Just stay
treated
in America. It's
like
that
if I was
simple.
Black
That's all you gotta
American.
do.
If I go to the market, they will
It's like
actually
every time I talk,
overcharge
everybody
me.
start talking at the same time.
Oh, sorry.
Like I
I
can't
was
even
just
get
trying to
a
say to
thought
you.
out. It's a
No,
book, an
bro, you
excellent
already
book, where he
explained it.
dealt with it. How black people is the double consciousness, and then in order for you to succeed, you gotta behave how they want you to behave. Like you gotta reduce yourself just to be just to not get killed by them, because
What are
they
you
found like
talking
if they
about?
This
found
What?
dude
out.
is
How
something's
did you
wrong with you, bro,
extrapolate
for
that
real.
from anything we said?
I'm
This
saying
man
this
is
because the
insulting us,
guy
man. Come
said
on.
that don't come to Africa with an arrogant American attitude. And the other guy said that we're just freedmen or slaves. And he said our status
Brother,
in America. Like, what do
That's
you mean?
ridiculous,
We
bro.
the
didn't
You
get
notion
part of
treated
the
of
as
problem,
American
for real.
slaves
exceptionalism it
over
goes beyond
150
traveling
years
in the
ago.
continent of Africa. If you go anywhere
Everywhere in
that's
the
quote
world.
unquote third world or the global south, this notion is about the Americans, period.
But
Of this arrogance.
Even in
you would
Europe,
accept
even in
listen,
If
Europe,
you go
bro,
to any
it's
you
other
would
everywhere.
quote
accept
unquote
a
underdeveloped country,
sophisticated,
you're gonna get the same. You're gonna
prestigious
get the
white
same
man, but not a
overpricing.
black
You're
man.
gonna get the same asking for money, bro. They view you as
Listen,
a
Now
check.
listen,
now you're talking about
listen,
prestige.
You are
listen. What
ignorant.
I'm
Bro,
saying
no,
is,
hold on. Now you
what
talk
I'm
about
saying is,
prestige, bro. First you brought up
you
that
would
people getting
accept.
treated differently.
Listen.
Then you
You would
talking about
accept.
wanting to be treated the same, and then you
Listen,
talking
what I'm
about
saying is,
prestige.
it's like when a
Come
black
on,
man
man.
talk proper, they're gonna say he a sellout. So he
No,
gotta
they ain't
talk
gonna
good
say
just to
that,
get
bro.
accepted.
Nobody's gonna say that,
You
and
can't
you don't got to worry
accept a
about that
black
anyway.
man with prestige and intelligence, just like you would accept a white man that come. You say if a black man come acting like a
Why are you
European,
denoting
Bro, you're
somebody
not.
That's not
intelligence
Why is
true,
he
because they can
jumping
bro.
over
we
mimic
don't
this
got no
somebody
point?
problem with
else's
Europeans
structure?
acting like
Like, what are
Europeans in
you
Africa.
talking
Thousands of
about, bro?
years
You
he was
think like a
successful,
slave, and you
bro.
don't even realize it,
See,
bro.
he called me a
Exactly,
slave.
bro. You don't
Bro,
understand.
you
Listen,
think like,
let
brother.
me.
This is based off of what
See,
you
that's how
articulate
y'all Africans
consistently,
look at
brother.
us as
You think like a
slaves.
European, brother. I'm just being objective.
Am I a
You
European
Just
or
objective.
what
am
You
I
you
a
think like a
saying
slave? Which
now,
one am I?
bro.
European.
Exactly.
Which one am I? Am
Let
I
me
a
try to
slave or
clear
a
it up, bro.
European?
Let me try to explain
And
it as clear as I
when I
can,
make a
bro.
point,
Just
people
listen.
call me
Just
slow
listen.
or trying to say, "Oh, what are you
Nah,
slow?"
bro. I'm
You
not.
can't
I only
I'm not
call
accept
you
trying
slow
the
when you
to.
mention
scholarship.
pseudo stuff that's
You can't
nonsense.
accept the
I'm not trying to.
scholarship
You
that
Bro,
I
are
I'm
you
not
are
bring.
even.
relatively intelligent. I'm not,
One
especially
mic,
compared
one
to the
You
mic,
people
can't
that
one
come
mic.
accept
on
it
here.
because I'm a black American.
You
If I
just
was a
think like
white
a
man, y'all be
European.
We black
silent and give me
Americans
respect.
too. We black
I mean, why
Bro,
Americans
would
let
you
me
want to
just
go
also.
to
make.
I'm
Africa
Let
not
me
no
just.
American,
after
bro.
y'all had killed off these prestigious, highly intelligent, sophisticated Liberians and took their country and ran it to the
Bro,
ground? Like,
listen, man.
why would we
Listen,
repeat
man.
that?
No, it's true
Listen,
though.
man.
It's true.
Listen. I'm
Liberia
gonna
was
try
a
to. I'm
better
gonna try to
place
make.
Why would
during
we
the
repeat that?
time
I see the
of
I see the
African
architecture.
Americans great,
It's a
but
great
it
it was a
doesn't
great
mean.
country.
Oh my
I
goodness,
understand what
man.
you're trying to say. I understand what.
Why
Listen,
not just go to
nobody's in.
Liberia then?
They
Nah,
took
bro,
it.
he
They
Nobody's
needs
took
to
it.
he
denying
Go
needs
any
to
of
live
that,
nowhere,
far
bro.
away
bro.
from
Even
Africa.
Hearts.
Please don't come to Africa, bro.
And
Even
nobody
Hearts.
Don't
was
go.
nobody
Don't
was
go,
denying
bro.
the
They don't
fact
want you
that
there. Don't
when.
go.
Exactly.
He ain't gotta
They don't
go,
want me
bro.
to. They only want the
I
white
don't think
man.
No,
it's.
bro, please stay in
I don't
America,
think
bro.
it's your.
Please.
I don't think it's your. I don't think it's up to you. You know,
And
if they
y'all
want
just
him
ignored
there.
everything I said.
Yeah, I think
Africans
Kadu,
cannot
Think
see
you
us
say
as
brother,
nothing but
nonsense, bro.
slaves.
what do you think? What do you think in the long run between America,
Something wrong
Liberia,
with
and
this
other
dude,
nations?
man.
What do you think is the solution
We
to
have to go to war and
Liberia,
wipe them out.
America?
That's the only solution.
Get them
Oh
with
no, no,
army.
no,
Hey,
nah,
bro, get him off the panel, bro.
Please.
nah.
What
I
army are we gonna go
mean,
to war with?
Hold on.
you know.
I can't hear him.
I'm talking. Dude, you're not about that life,
That's not
man.
nice,
Stop.
man.
I mean,
Just stop.
that's the only. You think they're gonna give it to us?
We all
You're not
know.
about that life.
But are they gonna give it to us? Are they gonna be
No, but
diplomatic?
let's say he
You're
was
not.
with
You're not
but
It
about.
sounds good
army.
though.
You're not about. You're not
The boy
serious. Hold on.
sleeps. He's getting his
Hold
gun.
on. Let me, guy. Hold. I'm talking. I'm talking. Don't over talk. I'm talking. All right, guy. Number one, the thoughts and opinions of M are not the thoughts and opinions of
in such a
Exactly.
hoodoo. But
That's
yeah,
my opinion.
I need you to walk that back because you're not about that life. You're not.
I was
You
just
don't have
talking
that.
in general. What should we do to get Liberia back?
Ain't no talking in general. Like we don't play like that. Like we don't play like that.
All right, I'll walk that
So
back. I do not want to go and take over Liberia. I do not want to go to war with Liberia. I do not. I was just talking in hypotheticals.
Damn right.
Possibilities.
Bro, go do it then. Why? What you keep saying we? Who is the we that's behind you?
We.
I would prefer if they
go do
were civilized to be willing to work
But
with us, but
we
they
is
don't
all
want
he
to do
got,
it.
man. We is
No,
all
but
he
They want us
got.
to be. They want us. They want us to
I'm
be
talking
fighting.
about him, bro. It's like he has
1
to
second.
identify the we. Galvanize your critical mass
There
and
ain't
go
no we,
implement what you're
bro.
talking about, bro. Nobody. I don't agree with you, but I mean, it might be people that do.
The Africans should just respect us and celebrate that we overcame
They
slavery,
already
throw a
respect
party,
us.
and
Hello?
just say, okay, here goes
We
some land,
understand. We listen.
and then
Brother,
be
but
like the
you
prodigal son in the
asking for
Bible, like,
something that you can't
look what
control,
y'all have
brother. The only thing
overcame.
people respect in the world is power. You're
They
gonna
don't
have to
want to
amass
do it.
power, brother. It's that
Now you talking
simple.
about power. I just had to walk that back. The only
But I'm
power I
saying,
know of is
but
either
you
influence.
shouldn't go
You
out.
don't know
But
nothing about that.
articulating that on the internet is dumb.
According to
Bro.
Amos
Like that's just
Wilson,
ignorant to do
the
that.
greatest form of power is influence, not coercion, according to the blueprint of Black Power. So
No, that's
influence
And
is
which
fact.
the
one do you
greatest form of power.
project?
Influence.
Which one do you
You're
project?
not
So
influencing
I'm a
nothing though.
social
Nobody agrees
engineer.
with you. That's what
You
I'm
haven't
saying.
even influenced nobody on this
Daniel, I got a question.
I'm a social engineer.
No,
I'm
but no,
real
you
deep
are
into
You a
good.
Black
You are
Power,
good
man.
at
I
the
know
random
a lot
conversation.
about the theories.
You are good at that. But yeah, I mean,
Guys,
this isn't a good measure though because people are gullible on this.
But we need Africans to
That's the
start
problem, bro. It's
respecting
the
us.
gullibleness.
They don't have to be so hateful and looking at us as slaves.
Honestly, majority of Africans in the continent respect African Americans. In fact, they actually love
Bro,
African Americans. Even the people that you hear, what you see online, what you hear online, it's not even 1% of how Africans think. So if
exactly,
you're
bro.
gonna take the entire opinion of the continent based on what you hear online, come on, man. That's
important to
actually
travel there.
totally
Hey,
wrong.
thank you for
All I
allowing me
got
to
was
show
getting
Dynasty
called.
something to
Can I ask a
rotate.
question?
All I
Hear
got
me?
was getting called
Oh yeah,
brother
go
out
ahead.
there.
Yeah.
Have you been to
That's what
Africa
people call
before?
me.
Obviously, Dinah's done already said I haven't been to Africa.
He never.
Yeah, M
See,
hasn't been no.
Never been there, you
that
He
really
ain't
answered the
going either.
question.
It's like
There we
this
go.
dude just I don't
I
know, man.
didn't
I
think
like
you have to
I was
experience it
dating a
before
chick
you
that was
start
from
Oh,
Africa.
judging.
guy.
online
Let
you was
Major
probably dating
Bendu.
her.
Johnny, it's not your turn. Let Major Bendu talk. Go ahead, Major Bendu.
Thank you. I just feel like you have to experience it before you just start judging. I really think you're just basing it on personal opinions. And I disagree with you, Em, about your preconceived notions about Africans, about Liberia, I just think you need to do a history and you need to go to the ground and go experience it yourself.
That is
I
important.
want to talk to some powerful people like Tinubu or somebody to get them to put a declaration that
You ain't talking.
Who
You ain't
are
talking to
you?
nobody.
I need to go
You ain't
holler
talking
at
to
some of them
nobody.
leaders,
Come on.
so they can start
Gotta obey power before they
I think
take the stage.
Image is trolling. Image is trolling now.
No, man,
All right,
I'm finna rotate though.
Dynasty,
Thank
I
you,
got a
man.
question
Big
before.
move,
all
bro.
right.
Who told you
Guys,
Tinubu is powerful?
Go ahead,
Guys,
Seattle.
how important do you
Yeah.
think it is for us as African Americans to go there and travel and have our own experience before we just hop on this panel and start drawing off at the mouth? That's my question to you.
Repeat that one more time. Repeat that one more time. Seattle, repeat that one more time. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dennis.
What was the question?
I can hear you, but I didn't hear it either.
Yeah, what was the question? I didn't hear the question.
He's
Did someone
cutting
hear the
out.
question?
Nah, he's cutting
I
out.
didn't
There must be something wrong with his mic.
Yeah, I think he got bad signal.
Okay.
I mean, look.
Can I respond to
Yeah, I
Angola?
mean, look. The Liberian, like Liberian, that brother that was here earlier. Listen. I know Liberia very well. Like the one that was here earlier. He's a good guy. And there's a lot of Liberian people are good guys, but there's some of them obviously have problems. Just like every country you go, M needs to differentiate that. And I think Abdinus should take M to Africa, man. For the sake of this platform. if we have to do some fundraising or do something, you need to take him to Africa.
Right, fundraising.
No,
Yeah, we
a
need
brother
to.
said he wanted to
Facts.
respond to something I said.
You need to go.
Yes, I did. So I just wanted to give some pushback in regards to saying that Africa didn't need sports, and that's incorrect. Sports is a conduit for business. So let's first take example your name. It's a derivative of a martial art that was exported to Brazil that's made millions. People teach it as it's
Capoeira.
sacred and you got to go to them or whatever. Secondly, a lot of the people that build schools, wells, things like that are footballers that come from Europe. Lastly, right now, the tournament that's going on, for example, France, they got 96 people playing in it. 80 of them are Africans, and a lot of them were playing, and they all became millionaires. So they build houses, things in their village, and bring back money and spur the economy. So lastly, what happens is if you know the economics of sports and use the United States as an example, African Americans, we missed the mark in 1979, but over there in Africa, they're still trying to fight for it and getting those athletes back so they can create these same leagues and get the millions and billions of advertising dollars. So I understand that from the outside, it may look frivolous, but if you understand the economics of sports and particularly the Africans in Europe that always come back, give money, build, etc., it's a necessity.
Brother, but can I respond to that? Brother, I understand the ecosystem and the economics of athletics. What I'm saying is it's calcified. As far as vertically integrated and monopolizing that sector, you're at a disadvantage. That's what I'm saying. Like focusing on that, as far as like average people focusing on that, if you don't already have amassed a large access to capital already, you're really just wasting your time. It would behoove people to get the more vital resources. We need that
So
more.
again, I'm not speaking of everyone. I'm speaking of myself because that's the industry that I've been working in for around 20 years. I'm a sport historian, so I do have relationships in that manner. For example, American Nigerians started an organization, a Nigerian American football organization. Not only do they build some infrastructure in Nigeria, but they send people over to the United States to go to school, do things like that, and then they come back and build. So again, this is just a conduit. If you look at who's coming back and forth, who's giving, a lot of these people outside of the missionaries that have different goals and objectives are the athletes.
Brother, when you so
Did he just said
just
missionaries?
objectively analyzing that, when you look at the athletes that come back and you help, which like the Dikembe Mutombo, for example, him. When you look at these things that they create, yes, they're definitely helping people that need the help. But when you look at the overall impact of these organizations, majority of the benefit is the people that are creating it. It's not the benefit is not getting to the baseline of the people. It's this the trickle down effect.
Built
And
a
Bro,
hospital.
who's at fault with that though?
no,
Who else built a hospital?
it's definitely
Doesn't
us, but
everyone benefit from a hospital?
no, he did. I did not just say it benefits a lot of the majority of baseline of people, but overall, that's what I'm talking about. That's why it's
Bro,
not it
but
shouldn't be a
flex, bro.
focus.
If a hospital saves somebody's life, they benefited from it more than anybody.
If he didn't build it,
I understand the same thing about if creating the boreholes and refining water to where you don't have there's no bacteria in the water. I understand that on a baseline level. I'm saying there shouldn't be a focus for the majority of our like that's really a frivolity right now. That's a
It
What I'm
helps,
saying
triviality
bro.
is
right now.
that's my
Anything
focus.
helps.
Your industry is your
No,
focus.
It's saving
anything
lives,
does
bro.
help, but I'm saying the baseline of the focus. Like it's like this, brother. We the majority of our people, bro. When we get into we're trying to look at the stuff in the niche and the periphery. We're not getting to the baseline of the base, really the needs. You can use athletics as a conduit, but it's a conduit. It's nothing to get stuck on it, and that's what I'm saying. Majority of people that engage in those type of sectors, when it's really just entertainment in general, they get stuck in that, and it doesn't influence or it doesn't get integrated into the sectors of society. That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying.
but
And I'm
And the
disagreeing with
people,
bro,
you on that
that are
again
giving out the
because
resource at the
the
top level,
athletes that do that, they come back and then and not only do they give, but they give culture and they build people up. When you look at the kids who don't have necessities, shoes, clothing, and water. Who's giving that to them? That's
brother.
big.
But I'm saying,
Everybody starts
okay,
with
so
one step.
objectively analyze the people that are giving back. They're reinforcing just give me. I can run down. I can itemize and run down a list. A comprehensive list of the athletes that come in, and then the direct impact that it has. It's minuscule. It benefits the people
Bro,
that are. It benefits the people that are at the top extremely way more, because you're not only are you reinforcing their culture, not only are you reinforcing their sport, but they then want to go into have an affinity for the direct people that they're coming with, like La Liga or all of the other. They don't it's not culturally affecting them to where they want to stay and build their own leagues in the country. They want to go out to obtain
First, I'll talk
resources.
about the aspect of building schools. That helps everybody. Building
But it's
hospitals, building
again,
libraries, building water wells
it's
helps
the same
everybody.
effect. It's a similar effect to drug dealers that have the turkey. They don't have the same negative effect as drug dealers for selling drugs. But I'm saying, you're giving out turkeys that benefits the people directly on Thanksgiving, but it's not sustained
A
for real.
school is sustainable
but
year
Flex,
round.
bro.
I
A
think
hospital is
can I say
sustainable
one
year
thing? I
round.
think that a country like
Water wells
Nigeria
sustainable
needs
year round.
more doctors,
That's what I'm
engineering,
saying.
and entertainers.
Yeah,
But bro, it's still putting
every little bit help. Every little bit help. That's all I.
it's still putting a light on the people for doing good, bro. It's up to them to do what they do with
Yeah,
it. But
definitely.
the
I'm not
tourism,
saying
all that stuff
their
helps,
efforts
bro.
are
So
definitely the athletes that come and get back. I'm definitely not poo-pooing their efforts or none of that. I'm saying, well, I mean, with the access to resources, like Dikembe Mutombo is great, but on average, the athletes aren't doing their part. But the ones that do their part definitely is commendable, and they're doing the best that they can.
Yeah, what
I disagree
Nigerian,
with that. You don't
a country,
understand
as
a
an
that.
country like
overall factor,
Nigeria needs.
it
African
hasn't proven to
American
be effective.
athletes. The
Yeah,
African
That's
athletes that
one
play in
second. What a
Europe
country like
definitely give
Nigeria
back
need
due
is
to the racism and
peace
things
and
they face.
security,
They don't even live in
and
Europe.
basically more doctors and more engineers, and stop traveling and stop going to other people's country. They need to fix their country, because at the moment, all in West Africa, all we can see is Nigerian YouTubers going to Sierra Leone, Gambia, encouraging Nigerians to leave Nigeria to migrate to our local neighboring countries. If they're not careful, very soon, even us, we're going to be like, you know what? No, you can't come here. Go back and fix your country. It's not being xenophobic or anything like that, but there will be a point. Every nation will be like, you know what? You need to just go back and fix your country. And every little bit will help, when Nigeria is concerned. So I would not come here and criticize people going to Nigeria and helping those people, because they need to stay in their country, man. There's over 200 million of them, and all they want to do is travel. It's like India. Nigeria is becoming the
but why
India
is that though, bro? I think you got to address the root cause, though, right?
They always have been like this. Nigerians have always traveled. They always left their country.
I'm not blaming them particularly, but it's common everywhere, right? It's not just them throughout the continent.
No, but
right?
I'm talking about in West Africa in general. Listen, since I was a child, we know them for just coming to our countries, and anyway, I don't want to go into it, but they need to fix their country. They need to start staying there more. Patriotism is starts at home. Sometimes you have to be
Bro,
forced
these
to fix
countries are,
yourself.
bro. Like, we gotta get out that mindset, though, bro. I see where you coming from, but bro, these countries are fictitious, bro. We did not create this stuff, bro. Like,
No,
I know
that's very true. But we
I
have
know
our
it's
region, our kingdoms, our
yeah, but even if it wasn't though, like these countries are literally European imaginatory things.
Yeah, but these
It's not
countries,
real.
listen, like I agree. Like between Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea, basically there's border, but there's hardly any border. We all know that. Sometimes people travel without even ID. But if you travel there, from other countries, they would know straight away you don't belong. As the Liberian was saying, people know who is who, so we know who is who, and sometimes it don't take long for us to work it out. But sometimes, you need to be forced as a human being to take personal responsibility. And I think that's really what's lacking in our culture.
Yeah, but the symptoms
Hey, bro,
that they have.
I think he got a question, Flex, for somebody.
My bad.
No, go ahead, Seattle. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you at all. Oh, he dropped off. Okay.
We can hear you.
He dropped off.
Bad, isn't it? Bless him. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, he's back up. All right. Go ahead, Seattle.
Okay, so the brothers, we're getting a little sidetracked because
The brother's speaking about what he wants to do for Africa, and that's great. I support him in that. But I just relooked at the title, and it says, "What does Africa owe Black Americans because of the slave trade?" Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, so I just didn't want us to spend too much time on speaking about the brother and his sports and what he wanted to do for Africa. That's what he wants to do for Africa. And as African Americans, we go and do all sorts of things for Africa, and that's great. But right now, the topic at hand is, what does Africa owe Black Americans because of the slave trade? Let's not get sidetracked from that, because I really want to hear what brothers got to say about that.
We gave our opinion though.
Bro, this is how we do it on here. I mean, we always address that, and then if everybody else really addresses that point, we move on to other points.
I'm an African. I already told you that,
that's how we always done.
Level. So governmental level. I think the government in Africa, this so-called colonial government after the Berlin Wall Conference, they owe you some form of land, or something needs to be done in terms of reconciling in Liberia, in West Africa in general, some sort. Maybe Dynasty should make a program, bring some of the politicians from Liberia, on this platform. That would be a good start, and start having a conversation, not having some dusty low IQ argument, but like some constructive conversation how to to go about doing this, because it can happen.
I like
that
that.
is a big possibility.
Yeah, I like that, brother. Thank you. I just wanted to hear more. I just wasn't hearing a lot about that. Maybe I missed it or something along the way because I've been traveling from work. But I really was curious about, what does Africa owe Black Americans? Because I feel like we do get dismissed, and it's kind of gets wiped over. You know what I mean?
Nah, bro, but this is what I be saying, bro. We walk around here, bro. Don't nobody owe us nothing. You owe what you can. You owe what you have the power to take. If you don't have the power to enforce it, then there's no point in even requesting it. If we're not organized to leverage any government to do anything with it, and it's really
leverage.
At the end of the day, bro, if you don't have any military behind you, that's just like, we're naive of how stuff works. You can leverage, you can use your finances, but that's not they're not relying on any quote unquote African American quote unquote
I
FBA
want to ask you
finance
something about what you just said, because I love your mind and I love your opinions. I really do. So when you just said that, it made me think to my mind. So we just supposed to go and take shit like how the white man did, because they had the force to do it, and they had the military.
But that's not. I mean, if that's what you agree with what I said, that's not what I'm saying.
No,
I'm saying
I'm asking.
you could do that if you amass the power. Yeah, you could do that. I wouldn't suggest that, but I'm saying you have to amass power and organization. To be honest, that's what I'm saying. If you have an organized bloc that can move and has political and global influences economically, and it goes beyond the border, you need to have a bloc. If you had that, yes, you could leverage these governmental entities, and even just you can influence administrators to go on your behalf, which people are doing right now. But if you're talking about governmental entities divvying out reparations, and they weren't even around the time when this stuff happened, and the population that they would be divvying out reparations to, their family would be the people that was sold and the people that was selling. This just doesn't make any sense. And from a legal standpoint, it would be hard pressed to prove this, to be honest.
I respect that. I appreciate that answer. Thank you. I just was looking for clarification, and you gave it. It's plain and simple. I understand.
We have more in common. Look, the Africans are not wicked people. West Africans are not bad people. As I said to you, we're really decent. We're really good people. What happened during the slave days? That is, it's something that happened years ago, and it happened to loads of us. And some of the problem that you're struggling with Africans, some of the Africans are having the same problems. So we cannot just have this blanket mindset of how we see Africa and Africans. So I swear there is a solution to what we're going through, but I think some people have to be out of the conversation.
And brother, absolutely. I apologize if my tone is sounding antagonistic. It's just I'm
very familiar with you from Sarnetta to here, so I appreciate you. I know how you give it up, bro. I ain't no disrespect. I know how you give it up strong. It's all good and respect to you, brother.
Yeah, but my thing, my just little advice, and then I'm gonna go on mute to let everybody else talk. I'm gonna say, brother, identify. In my opinion, bro, the main problem is, bro, identifying with America, bro. That's gonna be like, that's a major hurdle. Like it's a conflict of interest. We can't be on one end saying we want the best for the continent and then want the best for America when America's agenda is to keep the continent at the state it's in now. It's a conflict of interest, but I'll let other people talk about it.
Okay, Dinah, can I go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Now, what does Africa owe the diaspora? Land. Land. They don't owe us no money. They owe us land. They need to be given the diaspora. I always say, call it diasporia, right? Give it, they need to be, the diaspora needs at least I say about 5 million to 10 million acres of land in Africa, which is small compared to, man, to how vast Africa is. And man, and let African and let the diaspora, not just African Americans, but the diaspora, all of the diaspora, even Africans who done left their country, right now, and not in their country right now, to work together, to and it don't even got to be. I think this land that they give us should be, just used for African. For the diaspora to go there and to help, what's the word I'm looking for? Produce and to process raw materials and the resources and stuff like that. But that's what I'm not a reparations guy, man. You won't hear me walking around screaming out that we need reparations, but
No.
one thing I will say this, well, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. But anyway, so that's what Africa owes its diaspora to me. The African Union needs to be getting together to see what they can do to set aside a reasonable amount of land for its diaspora. And I want to say this too, y'all. Africans in Africa need to get out of the idea that they live in democracies. You do not live in a democracy if you do not have the right to bear arms. If you don't have the right to bear arms, then you live in a democratic dictatorship. That just means that if the wrong leader get in power, you will have no recourse or very little recourse to do anything to your government when it's oppressing you. America and maybe a few other countries are the only people in the world that really, really enjoy freedom. And so when I talk about, so when you hear African Americans talk about, applaud the American way of life, it's because African Americans are the freest people on the planet. We are the most armed black people on the planet. We got more guns than the Nigerian military. No black people on the planet got more guns than us. We are the freest people on the planet. And so if you live in a government where the military got weapons, but the normal ordinary citizens don't got weapons, then you live in a dictatorship. That's why those governments are able to oppress you like that, because you have no way to defend yourself. But in America, that's not true. That's why African Americans love America, because we enjoy freedom. Even though we over here getting brainwashed and all other kind of crap, we are the freest black people on the planet. Period.
Do you own a gun?
For me, hell yeah, plenty of them, my brother. You better know it.
Okay, all right.
Plenty of them. Plenty of them. I got a 50 cal and everything.
Nice. All right.
No, but I don't got no problem with like the black people that identify with America. But I'm saying, bro, the black people that do identify with America trying to appeal to African government at the same time to allocate the land. It's gonna be it's gonna be another Liberia, because you're gonna come over there. Because I know what quote unquote African Americans do. They want to create their little silos, and then all they're gonna try to do is create an America on the continent again, like quote unquote like people analyze with Liberia, and it's gonna be a disaster. If you're not if you're not trying to re-Africanize, bro, just stay in the U.S.
Let me say this. I agree.
If you don't know how to assimilate and live alongside with differences, you're gonna find
if you're not prepared to readopt African culture, right? Then you're not serious about Pan-Africanism.
Nah, at all.
In my opinion, I'm a follower of Dr. Amos Wilson, and Black people must view the world through an Afrocentric perspective. Chinese people do. If we don't view the world through an Afrocentric perspective, then we're not serious. then if we don't view the world through an Afrocentric perspective, then we are not serious about freedom. We just want to walk around, but we don't want our minds to be free. So freedom is not partial, right?
Have you visited Africa?
Half here, half
One thing
there,
I noticed
right?
from being over there is they're assimilating a lot to the Black foundational American culture. So
And that's
I mean,
bad.
we're trying to figure it out.
That's bad.
No, I feel you. But see, the black foundational American culture, you know what I'm saying, is imposed on Africans through the same media conduits that's imposed that created culture is imposed on us. Now, if you mean African American culture in terms of jazz, the original hip hop, old school R&B. Now that's real African American culture,
All
right?
of that over there, they love all of that in Africa. They want to talk like us, dress like us, do everything that they see us do.
Well,
Brother,
see,
ain't
I got no
nobody walking
problem. I got no
around
problem with
talking about
Africans
that person,
imitating.
brother. Come on.
I got no problem with Africans imitating positive aspects of African American culture, like
I
jazz.
agree.
That's cool. But
Yeah, that's
the drill music culture, the
my
self-destructive culture. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. All of that is a created type of personality that has been imposed upon African Americans through various different psychological warfare.
That's all over the
You know
world,
what I'm saying?
though.
I'm
You
just
said
saying, when
what?
I went to Tanzania, they speak English. It's as much as it's a Swahili speaking country, a lot of people speak English as well. Like my wife, she speaks better English than me. Okay. And I just noticed that a lot of people were assimilating to American culture. So I'm just seeing that there's just, this is just what I'm seeing. I could
Well,
be
that's
wrong.
because Africans hate themselves.
right.
That's because Africans hate themselves.
Yeah,
They
fact.
put
They hate
Europe.
Not
themselves.
really. That's generalization.
It's not
again.
working.
They put European languages above their own. They
Fact.
put European clothes above their own. They put
Fact.
European food
Yeah, I
above their
mean,
own.
I had no
And
problems
people,
going
the
there.
only people who will do that are people who have been educated in such a way where they negate their own culture, brother.
Look,
You see what I'm saying?
let me. Okay. For the fact that you said that, look at Nigeria. Like, for example, you can't generalize like the Fula, the Hausa, the Madingo people of West Africa. They wear their culture clothes. If you look at West Africa, majority of West Africa wear their own clothes. If you go to East Africa, they're totally different. I agree with that. But we love our culture. Most West African people love their culture.
I agree.
No,
West
they don't.
African African people, in general, West African people do tend to be culturally conscious. Not all, though. Don't get me wrong.
Nah, but nah, just
If I was to give it a
to
percentage,
say they love their culture on average, it's not true.
now I wouldn't completely agree with that. I mean, have you seen the Akan culture in Africa, like in Kumasi and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, Obenfo Obadele Kambon speaks about this, bro. Like, and I've even seen when I went over, I seen the interactions
The
that they have.
Yoruba, the Fula,
They do it like it's ancillary. They'll do the
we
ancillary,
love our
but
culture,
like
man.
somebody,
love our
it's not. I would
be
bet
better,
just
but
based
they don't
upon
hold.
you would put it like
NGO, I hate to interrupt you. Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you just right here. Then I'm gonna let you talk. It's not gonna be quick, but because I understand what you're saying. I completely agree. But what I mean is that they've held on for the most part, right, to their culture. You know what I'm saying? It hadn't been.
We still do. You'll be surprised. Our culture is very intact in West Africa. West Africa is one of the few. But listen, West Africa is the most preserved. There's loads of stuff you can say about us West Africans, but when it comes to our culture, we have preserved that.
Yeah, I mean, look at Benin.
Not true, bro.
Look at Benin, bro.
You have a professor that's literally having to teach people that are in the country their own language. They can't even count to 10 in their own language.
If you listen to what I said a part of the language,
That's
and
the biggest part of the culture.
No, 100%. No, 100%. There are a lot of cultures that's been diluted. You can come to Europe. Europeans don't have a culture. Their culture been diluted. If you go to Asia, their culture been diluted. But it's dependent on the percentage compared to other. If you listen to what I've got to say, compared to the other African region, West Africa have done well preserving some aspect of their culture.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with that. Could it be better? Yeah, hell yeah, it could be better. It should be 100% African culture. But
I mean, because what are you comparing it to, though? Like,
I'll give y'all about if I was to grade it, I'll give y'all about a 72. You know what I'm saying? West Africa
what region are you juxtaposing that to? That's what I'm asking.
Okay, so now watch. Now Benin, I give Benin an 87, right? If it was a grade, right? I give Benin an 87. I give Nigeria I give Nigeria like a 72, right? I give Ghana maybe like a 79. You see what I'm saying?
Now, religion has really been able to put itself, religion, Christianity especially, they got the big white Jesuses, they're walking down the street, white Jesus painted everywhere.
But the religion, the religion is not all the entire. Why you always have to bring the religion? The religion is not the entire aspect of the
That's
culture.
a huge
It's one of it.
aspect of culture, bro.
It's part of it. It's not all of it.
Nah, it's a huge,
not all of it.
language and religion is damn near, man, and governmental structure. Those three things are
it's part of it.
No,
family
no,
structure.
no, spot on. Language is
I
the
don't want to
true
open this. I don't want to have
manifestation
this
of culture.
conversation. Yeah, and also most of the West African people speak their language. The English is the is the official language that they learn in school, you know,
Well, they need to get
or
rid of that.
business and other stuff. For
They need to
majority of
start
them,
doing
their
science
language.
in their
I don't know
language.
what you're talking about, and that's also the you know, they, even though they probably follow Christian or Islam, they still practice the African traditional religion anyway. So they
Hey, African,
practice
can I say
both.
this? Let me say this, Africa.
Yeah, go
Why
on.
do you think?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so hard for Mali and them to fight a war against the? Because they speak the same language as they motherfucking colonize. It's hard as hell to hide anything from you. It's hard as hell to fight a war against somebody that you speak the same. How you gonna hide anything from them? You speak the same code they speak. You got the same mind. They got the same line of
No,
communication
but
as you.
see, Mali is nationalized. They turning Bambara as a national language anyway. They already
Yeah, but
flipping
they
that
need to.
slowly.
But we need to do it more rapidly. They need to be throwing out English grammar books and bringing in African grammar books. We need to be writing. We need to be. Matter of fact, the Diaspora need to be learning African languages so that we can contribute to the literature and also inject our ideas into the African consciousness. That's why it's so important.
It sounds like it's safe to say. It sounds like it's safe to say that Africa can't do nothing for African Americans because they can't even do shit for themselves. They're still stuck in the colonial mindset of.
Brother, we all are though. That's the thing. We all are
African Americans. African Americans are too though.
Hell, we all are. Every inch of the earth where black people at is mentally backwards and pathological. You're not escaping it.
Yeah, I mean, there's an aspect of that, absolutely. You know,
nah, brother, it's I'm just like that. But again, we are delusional to how deep we are in the hole as far as our mental pathology, bro. Like that. Like I'm being nice. I'm not giving the pushback that I could be giving because just for the sake of the flow of the conversation. But I don't agree that at all that West Africa is culturally intact and they have take pride in their culture. But I'm not
okay. I would say about.
I feel like it could be better, but I think they do it way more than East Africa, though, bro.
Compared to the rest of the continent.
East Africa, I can't speak on that because Central and Southern.
Have you been to Africa in Angola?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you
Okay,
that.
where?
I wanted to ask you that.
I've been to Ghana.
I was curious about
Ghana. I've been to Ghana. Okay. Well, I will.
I've been to Kumasi in the Kamale region in the north.
Would you ever pick up?
Okay.
Do you have plans to pick up and leave America at any point in time and live?
Yeah, I'm doing it within the next 3 years. I'll be completely gone from the United States.
I like that. That's what's up, brother. I won't be doing that, but I just wanted to ask you that, and like I said, I really respect your mind, so I appreciate.
I want to practice law in Liberia. That's my dreams. I'm gonna try to to go practice law in Liberia. Once I practice law here in America for long enough, I'm gonna go to Liberia and try to see if I can practice some law. It's my dream.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I mean, Liberia, to be honest with you, Liberia is something that you guys need to work on and see how you can bring reconciliation back. And the thing is, it's not only if there is anywhere it's not only American Liberians who suffer during the war of Liberia. Even the native people suffered a lot, and the neighboring countries suffered a lot. Sierra Leone is one of the countries who suffered a lot from the war. Even Ivory Coast, but luckily they managed to stop it. So it's something that needs to be done. And sometimes when you go through a war, you come back together, you can grow more stronger than pre-war dates, basically. And I think that happened. Even in Sierra Leone, we are more stronger today than when it comes to communal than where we was, before the war, because you learn from it. Especially the generation that experienced war, it's not something that you want to be part of, man.
I like the current Liberian president. At least it's the few articles I done read on him. Look like he's doing some good things over there. But
yeah, he's a good guy.
I would be interested in African Americans, man. Read a certain their you know what I'm saying, their legacy in Liberia and making amends with some of the mistakes that we made there, right? Because, you know, even though, you know what I'm saying, I hate, I dread the civil war and everything that happened in Liberia, I do acknowledge there are some things we could have did better, right? You know what I mean? I think of African Americans, man, was to like get a better group, like get a nice group together, you know, to go there and man and start to invest and do things like that to kind of change the narrative with respect to African Americans. And now I think that's possible and that can be done in this generation. But the problem is a lot of this generation don't even know of Liberia. They don't even know that African Americans got a country in Africa. Believe you know, so that's the level of miseducation. And I know we talk about African American culture a lot, but we a lot of times we don't talk about the education of African Americans and how African Americans have been taught to ignore African history. And most African Americans know more about Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, white figures and white history and white social and political and historical events than they know about any kind of inkling of Africa, right? You know what I'm saying? So you got to give, you know, African Americans have been educated in a jail-like environment. Almost every school you go to here looks like a jail. And in that jail, they have been indoctrinated with a standard Eurocentric curriculum that only teaches about Black people with respect to their relativity to white people. So the only, you know what I'm saying, thing that we learn about Black people is their relativeness to white people, right? So it's almost as if, you know, to African Americans, many of them, it's almost, especially the average one that you might find in the ghettos here in America, it's almost as if they didn't exist or they weren't even conscious before coming into contact with white people. So, you know, Black African Americans have been, you know, educated into and the African elite on the continent as well, right? Have been educated profusely in a Eurocentric value system. And many of us serve Eurocentric culture involuntarily, not even knowing that we're doing it. Yeah.
Can I pose a question to the panel? How about the idea of what is it that we owe one another as Africans in the diaspora and continental Africans? What is it that we owe one another? Not just what one party owes the other, but maybe we owe each other some level of solidarity and brotherhood and sisterhood so that we could actually maybe, you know, get something done in some type of way. But
I mean,
respect, mutuality is one thing, but to be honest with you, you know, like the this FBA cult that is popping up, it's been a major setback for African Americans and the African people in the continent.
Hold on now, because that FBA movement is just an internet movement, right? Most African Americans. Let me say this. Most African Americans, you know what I'm saying, don't even go back that far. You know what I'm saying? Most African Americans wake up and live their life every day, one day at a time. You know what I'm saying? You're lucky. You're lucky if you find an African American who knows anything about history. You're lucky if you find African American, especially the average African American in the ghettos, that's even, you know, conscious enough to even try to call themselves an Indian, even though that's not even true. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just not something that they are, you know what I'm saying, really thinking about. You know what I mean?
Let me get back off what you said.
I hear you. I mean, I don't hate FBA as a political force, but I don't like the cultish behavior of it. Sorry.
Me neither. I agree. I don't like it either.
Let me say this. When you think about FBA, the Moors, the Hebrew Israelites, these are all different tribes. Just like you have in Africa, you got all these tribes that don't get along. We have our splinter groups here. We have our tribalism here. So don't take the FBA and make that speak for all of Black Americans that were enslaved during the transatlantic slave trade. You can't do that.
And let me say this. I was talking to some kids earlier, and I asked them, I posed a question to them. I asked them, I said, what does race mean? What does the word race mean? Right. And the kid said, well, you know what I'm saying? It's the color of your skin. I said, no, you're wrong. The word race means competition. That's what it means. Right. And so you gotta black people need to start playing for the right team, right? And right now we're playing for every other team in this race except our team. We want to divide ourselves up and stuff like that into all these other little different teams, while everybody else, while every other race, every other competitor seems to get the picture except us, right? And so that's what makes me believe that a lot of these subgroups, a lot of these tribal groups are groups that have been formed. Believe it or not, it might sound like a conspiracy, but like if you read the book COINTELPRO, you know what I'm saying, you will start to understand.
Hey, I gotta read these super chats real quick. While Lion, thank you for the $5 Canadian. This is a contribution for M's brain transplant because this guy lacks any intelligence and wisdom. JC Inc., thank you for down and I holla. Y'all, the NGOs are the mostly CIA Trojan horses. JC Inc., thank you for the down 99 holla. That's how third leaders are overthrown, CIA NGOs. FBI Yellline, thank you for the 499 holla. Why is the conversation about reconnecting with Africa always centered on Black Americans? What about Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Brazilians, and Afro-Latinos? They're more than welcome to call in. FBI Yellline, that's a good show topic. FBI Yellline, thank you for 99 holla.
African Americans.
Can I finish counting the money? Let me finish counting the money.
My bad. Dynasty, right? I'm sorry.
Why can't we preserve our own culture and bring it with us to Africa? Why assimilation expected of us, but not of the Chinese, Arabs, or white communities living in Africa? Is Arania assimilation? All right, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, African Americans, and don't get me wrong, in my opinion, everybody, even Caribbeans, are technically African Americans because they live in the African hemisphere, right? But if you mean, Black Americans that live in the in North America, I think a lot of focus is on them for the very reason that this brother here who that we can see said, right? Because of the culture of African Americans and how popular they are and stuff like that. And also something that we don't think about, but something I mentioned earlier on the panel, is that the military might of African Americans, meaning by the amount of guns we have, the amount of freedom we have. That's why African Americans are always, when we're talking about Pan-Africanism, people are always associated with the Black Americans, because we are the ones who are in the most strategic position to really move the chess pieces for Pan-Africanism.
Dennis, I think Man City is in the back is trying to jump, but I'm gonna sign off because I got work in the morning. It's like nearly, it's a different time zone, in the UK. But peace to the entire family. Unity is a strength. Let's not make the same mistake again. I've seen it happen in the UK. But I'll be grateful if we do have someone from the Liberian, representative, even if a lower government member or something, that we can have a conversation about Liberia. I think that'd be really important. Thank you. Blessing, Diners. Blessing to everyone on the panel and the chat.
Yeah, I would just respond to the last super chat talking about why can't we reserve. It's not comparing our dynamics to Chinese and Arabs and white people. That just shows the problem right there, bro. That's all I gotta say.
I would add that African Americans if we're gonna survive where we at, we got to start to view the world through an Afrocentric perspective. We cannot view the world through a Eurocentric perspective, because that literally implies that we will hate ourselves, because the very culture that we view the world through negates us and hates us. I use the example of the Chi language, right? Where the word for power in Chi is tumi, and the word for to be able and can is tumi. And the word for black is tune, that word for black in the Chi language also enjoys the same prefix for the words for power and to be able. Therefore, the very color of the skin in the African language is associated with power and being able. But in the English language, the word for black is associated with evil and being bad. The word black itself has the word lack in it, which means to be low. Whereas because it's a white language, the word white has the word height in it, which means to be above. So it represents their language. I know that sounds, we might think that stuff like that isn't relevant, but I bring that up to show the type of language that we are using, right? You know what I mean? And the type of culture that we have adopted. We have literally adopted a culture and a language. And like I just said, a language is the highest manifestation of a culture. If you and I were walking through a jungle, right? And we didn't see nobody around, and then we ran into a rock and we seen some carvings on the rock that looked like little symbols, then we could be for sure that somewhere around lurking was a civilization or a culture. So language is the very manifestation of a culture. And when you use a people's language to think, to analyze yourself, then you are using someone else's lens to view yourself. And that is not the way it's supposed to be. Like Amos Wilson said, Black people are African containers, devoid of African content. And that's not going to work. Black people must adopt the culture that is designed for them. They must adopt the languages that is designed for their minds if they are to survive.
I agree with that 100%. But my question is, how is that logically going to happen when we're all born in the United States of America? Nobody's over here learning how to speak West African languages or none of that, like on a large scale. Black people, we're not doing that. So I'm just trying to figure out how that's going to happen.
Nah, but it don't gotta be.
How it can happen, brother. I can tell you how it can happen. Actually, you know, I'm a lawyer. Right now, I'm working on some extremely important legislation, and an extremely that's really going to reshape the way that Black people learn. I spoke about this issue at the Association for Black Psychologists last Tuesday. Because what's going on, the way Black people are being educated is so they are schools across the nation are misapplying Brown v. Board of Education. Now, if Dinus permits, I'm just going to explain this real quickly. Brown v. Board of Education held that separate but equal educational facilities was unconstitutional, right? Now, what schools are trying to do, let me ask you a question. Is educational facilities and education the same thing? I'm asking you, brother, the brother who posed the question.
You asked me education and educational facilities. No, because education starts at home with your parents.
Okay, well, now pause there. So, now the reason this is so important is because the court said that educational facilities, separate but equal educational facilities, was unconstitutional. So schools are trying to pretend as if same educational facilities also means same educational curriculum. And what that has caused, this misapplication of Brown, the consequences of this, right, is that it imposes a state of involuntary servitude on our children and actually on our intellects, because the curriculum that the schools use to teach Black children is Eurocentric, and they don't offer an optional Afrocentric curriculum for the children. So to answer your question is, we must change the educational climate, and there is a way to do it, because schools are violating the 13th and the 14th, where your states, all of your states, if they are doing this, if they are using a strictly Eurocentric curriculum in a jail-like environment, which is a school, to educate Black children, then they are still holding on to the minds of Black children, because even though they might have returned to them their freedom of movement, they have not returned to them their freedom of thought, you see. And so involuntary servitude is different from slavery, right? And you got to remember, the 13th Amendment protects us from slavery and involuntary servitude. Slavery is a conscious servitude. It is a servitude that the subject is completely aware of. Like if you and I was to go to a penitentiary, do you think that you would see two prisoners arguing whether or not that they were prisoners?
Hey, real quick, shout out to Black Rose. Thank you for the $20 holla via Cash App. Thank you, sir.
I'm just trying to figure out.
So let me ask you this question.
How us Black Americans are going to get back to the original spiritual systems that we had before we would take.
I'm gonna get there. I promise you.
Thousands of languages, because I don't have just one African tribe in me. Doing my DNA, I know I have probably hundreds, over 50 different probably people that spoke different languages, came from different places that are in my
Brother,
blood.
all you gotta do is start with one, though. That's what I'm saying. You don't
But
gotta
listen,
pick up. Just start with one. That's all you
yeah.
gotta do.
So like, and so we black people are enduring, especially African Americans and the African elite, African Americans. You know, like I said, they are enduring involuntary servitude, meaning that they are completely unaware of their service to European culture. Matter of fact, the very word culture includes in it the word cult, because a culture is a kind of cult. So as a result of only being educated in a Eurocentric curriculum, then our children only know about white people. They only know about the white historical, social, and political experience. They know nothing about the Afrocentric social and political experience. So black people, so how do we fix this, right? I told you that this could be fixed. And once it's fixed, once we are able to return an Afrocentric curriculum in our classrooms, then everything that you just talked about will follow. Matter of fact, our black intellects can choose what African language that the African Americans want to adopt, right? We can choose one African language we want to adopt, and we can start to have it taught in our classes around, right? But okay, so how do we do this? What we need parents, we need black parents around the United States to go to their schools and request an optional Afrocentric curriculum that is tailored to the unique needs of black children that black parents can opt themselves into. And when the school board refuses to do that, now they have created a constitutional dispute, not only on their state level, because you got to bring it up under the state first, then up under the federal level, right? Because they're choosing to discriminate based upon race on the curriculum, and the government actor cannot discriminate. So they have been getting away with the misapplication of Brown for about 70 years, because Brown couldn't have meant same educational facilities and same educational curriculum, because Brown, if you read that opinion, Brown spent a good deal of verbiage talking about the inferiority complex that resulted from separate but equal schools, right? So now now I'm pretty sure you all know Kenneth Clark, who did the psychological experiment in the 1940s with the white dogs, right? That was in the 1940s. In 1989, I forget the psychologist's name, he did a similar experiment, and guess what? They still chose the white dogs. Matter of fact, when I take my son,
2021, I think, as well.
Okay. And matter of fact, when I take my son held to Walmart and ask him whether he want Miles Morales or Peter Parker, he still picked Peter Parker. You see what I'm saying? So clearly the school, because they are using a standard Eurocentric curriculum, they have segregated the schools psychologically, meaning that a black child in America can go to school with a white child from 12th grade all the way up to the PhD level, right? And the schools still have produced two different type of people. Well, and then let's keep it at high school from first grade to 12th grade, right? It still produced two different type of people. It's produced a white child who knows everything about his race, knows, and most importantly, in knowing everything about his race, he knows his responsibility to his race, his place in his race, and the loyalty that he owes to his race. And it graduates a black child who knows everything about the white race and knows absolutely nothing about himself. So the schools have educated black children into a kind of ignorance and have educated white children into a kind of consciousness, you see. And this can be fixed because it's a direct violation of the 14th and 13th Amendment, and it will solve the problem that you talk about because it will return African consciousness to us. And matter of fact, in the state I'm in, that's the last thing I'm gonna say. In the state I'm in, involuntary servitude is defined as systems or processes, right, that result in the same undesirable results as did African slavery, right? So as a result of having our children educated in these prison-like environments, right, with a standard Eurocentric curriculum, the same power relationship and the same mindset has remained constant in the black mind, right? Meaning we still know absolutely nothing about African languages. We know absolutely nothing about African culture. We have no interest in African culture. We only have interest in European culture. But most importantly, all of our conduct still results in the financial wealth of white people in our land there.
And theoretically, what you're saying.
Can I add something to the chat?
You said what, brother?
No, I said can I add something to the chat?
How are we going to get Hebrew Israelites to agree with that? How are we going to get the Moors to agree with that? How are we going to get the Christians to agree with any of that?
Can I just add something to the chat real quick?
You haven't spoken your ear, brother. Go ahead.
So peace and love, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. So I came on this panel. I wanted to respond to my brother over there in Seattle that had that bad experience in Tanzania. I'm sorry about that bad experience that you had, but understand, man, it doesn't just affect Black Americans. It also affects others like myself. I went to South Africa and they tried to get me in South Africa. You know what I'm saying? And it also happens in other countries too, in Romania, Italy, even when I went to Costa Rica, the same thing. You know, it is a problem, you know, but you made yourself aware about those so-called scams. You know, you didn't get scammed, right? So as far as the Pan-Africanism, you know, I don't think everyone's going to get on board, you know, because we clearly saw Rubio. He went to Europe and he clearly said that the whole Europe needs to unite, right? But even the ones that don't are not under the banner of Pan-Africanism, they can still come and do good business. You know what I'm saying? So they could, you know, make money on their own. Prime example is the brother IB from Burkina Faso. They have a thing called Farafina, which is the IPN of the Black Institute for Black People, which they galvanize a lot of Black expertise, and they talking about Black literature and Black history, like my other brother was saying, you know. And like I said, I can't speak for the other African countries, but as far as the AES, they're doing well on the Pan-Africanism because they got together, they was able to control most of the resources and everything. Prime example, when Kemi Seba, when he lost his citizenship in France, Nigeria went and gave him a diplomatic passport. When Natalie M was placed on sanctions in Europe, Nigeria went and gave a diplomatic passport to Natalie M. You know, and that was under the banner of Pan-Africanism. You know what I'm saying? But again, I don't agree that everyone's gonna get on board. And then the last thing is to my brother Kulu. He was saying about like African Americans. I guess their culture is dysfunctional. I'm gonna have to slightly disagree. Not all, because like for example, when the Afro-Brazilians went to Nigeria, yes, they assimilated and stuff, but they also brought their culture from Brazil. You know, so you know I don't think that we should lecture FBAs, Black Americans, ADOS, whoever you want to call them, to just assimilate and they can't preserve their own culture. Because I mean, it just happened. Anywhere anybody goes, they're going to bring their culture with them.
Nah, but brother, I'm not saying, brother. I'm like that's what I'm the quote unquote culture. I'm not saying that it's all this. I've never said it's all dysfunctional. What I'm saying is majority of what people put as the bastion of the culture is majority European. That's what it's counterproductive to the ultimate goals of which me personally and people that think like me are trying to do. We're not trying to recreate European concepts. It's not even a re-Africanized as far as just from a periphery standpoint. It's intrinsically re-Africanizing. It's not about all of the value system. It's the thought process. It's what you patronize. If you bring that stuff to the continent, you're just going to recreate madness and dysfunction. That's what I mean.
Can I ask you?
Yeah, I mean, like
I agree with my brother. And let me say this: we confuse. We think that we all got to be on the same page. What Black people need is inspiration. All we need, like Assembly go to those three men done inspired a whole nation. I mean, done inspired a whole continent, really. Matter of fact, most of the population of all the continents want to be a part of them. The only reason they not is because they got puppet leaders, right? So we don't need, everybody ain't got to be in the same mindset. Black people need serious leaders so that they can be inspired. And I'll say that.
I think it's delusional to think that there's gonna majority of our people are not going to be doing productive, progressive things in terms of the quote unquote Afrocentric mindset. It's just not going to happen. What needs to happen is the critical mass that agrees on the ideal basis, the baseline of ideals. We need to start producing more, and we need to start cooperating more, and we need to start
Exactly.
implementing more. Now, what the brother was saying in regards to the educational system in the United States, in theory, I would agree with that, but I'm saying their system is calcified into the way where they're conserving their power structure. They're not gonna undo their system by properly making sure and ensuring that we get properly educated. They're not gonna do that. What can happen though is we can properly allocate the resources that we do have, which is a lot because our access to capital in the United States, and prioritize privatizing our education system to where there's no red tape. We don't have to be it doesn't have to be based on litigation. And when it gets to litigation on the public level, when public funds are being allocated, it's going to be a whole bunch of red tape.
And
Even
now
if
I
you,
want
Hey, look,
even
hey,
if
but
you
look,
win the case.
now look, let me say this.
to,
Let me respond to him. Hey, look, I know what's ahead of me, right? You know what I mean? But this is a legitimate fight. Matter of fact, I filed a complaint with the Human Rights Commission of my state. But this was before this was when I was a rookie lawyer. I filed the complaint wrong, and they sent me back. They sent me back a response, pretty much saying that, I filed the complaint wrong. I need to refile it. But they did not say that I didn't that my case did not have merit. Right? They didn't say that at all. They just said I need to refile it. So this is a real and true issue that can be fixed, brother. And I understand your pessimism, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially living in
It's
this
not. I'm not
colonial.
pessimistic towards it.
I just
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be objective relatively to my. I'm saying go for it. I'm not saying that you can't accomplish it. I'm saying that there's going to be a whole lot of red tape.
Yeah, for sure.
and then,
For sure,
and then
brother.
I just wanted to add one more. I just wanted to add one more thing too to the brother FBA Young Lion. He was saying about what about the Caribbeans and the Afro Latinos? I mean, they are going to Africa. They are doing investment, and they are they're doing business and stuff too. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, in the Caribbean, they're about to do a trade agreement with Africa. They're having summits right now, which hopefully they do local processing in most of the African countries. Because what's happening is that with the minerals and stuff that goes towards the Caribbean, it gets expensive. So they're able to do local processing and stuff. They're able to trade amongst each other in the Caribbean and in South America. So that's on the works. So I mean, I don't know what people think. Because they think that they're just going to America, and that's just not the case. They're going to other parts of the countries in the continent. So I wanted to add something like that.
Yeah, brother, I would say that I think it's more effective and expedient if we focus on privatizing it. But again, what you have done the research. So based upon the statutes, I definitely agree. You definitely have a solid case. I just know these parasites, brother, and how they operate. So I
Uh,
definitely don't have any faith in a just judicial system at all.
Believe me, brother. I know, man. Come on now. I'm.
Yeah, I know you already know.
Yeah. Come on now. But see, Amos Wilson talk about intentionality, and man, like my whole purpose for studying the law was to do something for Black people, and God bless me with a what I'm saying, a legal error that almost it's almost no way that you can argue against it. You know what I mean? It's almost like getting caught with your pants down. You know what I'm saying? So but I say it's worth the fight, and if anything, it's going to reveal even more contradictions. And when Black people understand what's going on, the way I just explained it, more it's going to piss them off even more and make them more, hopefully, make them more expedient towards controlling their own minds.
Yeah. And we can walk and chew gum. So it needs to be a multi approach, the strategy and tactics. So I'm definitely as
Exactly.
long as
That's why
that's
I am imploring. I'm imploring that if anyone on the panel and in your state, if you got some kids, go and simply ask for an optional Afrocentric curriculum. Feel, you know what I'm saying? Let them know that you feel like your child is being indoctrinated in a jail-like environment with only the history of white people. And when they refuse to do that, they have created a legal dispute that is actionable. Everybody got quiet.
No, I thought you were still talking.
Yeah, I thought
Oh
my
no,
mic.
no. Well, yeah. So like, if y'all can, brother, like I man, just simply go ask, man, and let your friends know. It's better if collections of parents go up to these school boards and recite this issue that I just explained to them. Right.
And you
This
said,
has to be brought to the forefront. Right. This like my brother said, this needs to be a collective front.
Yeah, but the thing is that too now they have a fight
Yeah.
against most of these conservatives, whatever. They striking down
Check this out.
like
Check this
especially
out.
like in now.
I actually went to my school board in my state and recited this issue to the school board, right? But right before I had did that, it was some immigrants, some illegal immigrants there who was trying to get alternate bus routes to their to the schools because ICE had been, waiting at the school to pick them up or whatever, right? Don't you know because the illegal immigrants had so much support. It was so many illegal immigrants there supporting this that the board voted on it right there and got alternate bus routes for them, right? I got up there, and because I was the only person up there speaking, right, I couldn't even get nothing done, right? You know what I'm saying? Even though all the black people, when I was done, like all the police officers, when I was walking out, they was clapping for me. They was like, bro, I hadn't, and think about it, you know what I'm saying? But we just need more support on this issue, and it needs to be brought to the forefront because our children are being brainwashed, and we're complicit in it. And it's involuntary servitude because it's legally coerced. So it's illegal for you not to send your child to a jail-like environment where they gotta have a Eurocentric curriculum jammed in their head. That's even worse than jail because in jail the inmates ain't being indoctrinated with Eurocentric curriculum. You see?
Yeah.
So this is a very serious issue, brother. It has reduced us to involuntary service such that even when we get to college, we use our degrees to help them make weapons and to make weapons of mass destruction that they're going to use to perpetuate their dominance on us.
Yes, I mean it's definitely a conundrum. It's the most vital thing, to be honest. But the biggest hurdle, brother, is getting the people to realize how detrimental it is. And I think once you get the people to realize how detrimental it is, then they'll be willing to allocate their private funds to do it. Then they'll be leveraged. You can leverage the public sector as well, though. But
that's the challenge. That's the challenge, bro.
Biggest hurdle. Yeah, that's going to be the biggest hurdle to show them how drastic of a problem it is.
That's the challenge for sure. But like I say, I got the Association for Black Psychologists on my back here. Now, this is the classic Association for Black Black Psychologists with people like Kobe Cambone. Matter of fact, I think he related to the Cambone you mentioned.
They work in tandem. Benfo Obadele Cambone, mother Mama Mawia, Nana Mawia. She used to be at the Association of the Black Psychologists.
Yeah, and he has some Cambone produced some very, very good curriculums that schools can use. If you ever read the Blueprint of Black Power, Amos Wilson actually got the whole curriculum in that book. Yeah, for sure. So we got perfect models, and we need to get our children away from these standardized tests because they are nothing but examples of voting rights tests. That's all they are. They are equivalent to voting rights tests, which the Supreme Court said was unconstitutional. You know what I mean? So we got a lot of legal issues that could actually advance the plight of our people. But the problem is that a lot of black lawyers are Uncle Toms. They don't have black consciousnesses. So they don't even know how to use the law to advance it for black people in many ways.
Right. I think, it's just, me personally, I think the most effective way is for our critical mass that exists. Well, if it is in fact a critical mass, I would assume so based upon people's sense. But again, most people are not serious. But us that know, bro, it's just got to be implementation. Like when it comes to implementation, finding people that are serious enough to actually implement the stuff in real time, bro, that is the most difficult hurdle. And I think once that critical mass coalesces, because as individuals you can only go so far. I'm trying to network anybody that's really serious, brother. I want your information, and I want to correspond in real time and actually create things that we can go forward in. Just creating small goals and then go to big goals, just in the immediate future. Just on a small level, small scale, then we'll go to bigger scale. But anybody that's serious, if you want to get in my if you want to exchange contact, I'm open to that. Anybody that's not playing though, and that's not on no Eurocentric. I don't want no Christians, no Muslims. If you got any foreign allegiances, I'm not trying to link with you, just respectfully.
I don't care like necessarily what you believe. You just got ulterior allegiances. That's it. But anybody that's serious and Afrocentric, I'm willing to allocate resources to anything. We can come together. We can network. I'm open. So.
Oh, bro. Put your email in the link or so, in the chat or some shit. How can we?
Yes, sir. I'll give you my number.
Golo, you realize from that, you realize that you cannot get the Black Hebrew Israelites, the Nation of Islam,
What's the number?
Respectfully.
But that's not my target demographic though. I understand that, and I wish them the best. But that's not what I'm like. I'm trying to coalesce with people that have come to the same conclusions that I have organically. I'm not trying to convince people of that stuff that's blatant fact. To me, with all the information that's available, and if you're an adult and you haven't came to these conclusions, I can't help you. Like. I'll focus on outreaching to the youth as far as giving them the information. But if you're an adult, that's not my area that I'm trying to get in because I done seen that road. And all of the elders that I've spoken to say they wasted a lot of their time trying to convince Negroes of the truth that was never gonna be receptive to it in the first place. So,
and I want to say something about that, but our elders, right? African American elders.
Hey, Skywalker, we got to do it tomorrow because we got to close out.
Okay.
Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family dynasty. Just put everything in a private chat. Until next time, family dynasty. Search for a real peace.
Salute.